Howdy.
Yo,
What's up?
We're back, bitches.
We're back in a new world with new artwork
feels
and a
like
new opening.
RuneQuest
Thank you,
was, like,
Doris.
so long ago.
I
Right?
know.
I know.
I know we
We'll
haven't
be
played
back soon.
RuneQuest in
Month.
1,000 years.
Yeah. It's weird how that happens.
Right? I was like, I forgot how to do my entire setup, and I was like, it feels like it's been so long, and it's only been 2 weeks.
That's crazy. It is. It's weird. It's weird. New games do that to you. New game. Who dis?
I
wait. I just plugged someone.
I love checking our past alerts because I'm the only one that checks them off. Apparently, there were 1069 redemptions the week I was
Hey.
away.
Yes. Yes.
We love to see it.
Yes, we do.
69 redemptions.
Right?
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
was watching, by the way, I just have to say this, and it always amazes me how like adult other streams are. I was watching an actual Chaosium stream. It was the Jeff Richard like RuneQuest house campaign stream, and someone rolled a 69, and like nobody said anything. It was just like, oh, I rolled a 69, and I was like, and then they just moved on with the game, and I was like, what?
Yo,
Folks are more
speaking
mature
of
than us.
speaking of
Hey, Chris
things,
Went, thank you.
speaking of things that are nice, Gerbo the Druid for 11 months of a sub, and Chris went as 10 months of a sub. We love you. Thank
And by the way,
Yay.
Chris is a badass because he sent us a 2-page RuneQuest character
thank
sheet.
you so much.
He's the one who sent it to us. So I will get that to you
Gosh,
guys.
yeah.
So you're gonna have the
2 pages is the
spectrum.
maximum I can
You can
hold
have the
on to.
spectrum of like the Amber 2-page and the Kent book. I have that one as well. So both are good and acceptable.
Fantastic. Well, whew, all right, guys.
Yeah,
New,
take it away,
new
Amber.
year,
You're in charge
new
of shit.
game.
Okay.
New DM.
If anybody has any announcements that are
I do.
non-game related,
Yeah, two. Let's do two. First of all, today, a very special podcast dropped. And Rainey and Kent and Troy were in that game, I believe. It is a game that Rainey wrote himself, which is called One Last Quest, which is about old retired adventurers like coming out of retirement for one last quest, which is hysterical. So that podcast dropped today, so certainly check that out. And next Tuesday, there'll be another episode of Rainey's Rainey Runs RPGs podcast, which I think will
It's
be
Rainey's-
another
isn't it-
session.
Is
So
it-
is Rainey plays games.
Yeah, it's
Rainey runs
Rainey
plays
RPGs.
games.
Rainey
Rainey
runs
runs
RPGs.
RPGs. Like,
is
that's-
his
he does
username
that
here.
too, but-
No, that's his username on Twitch.
This is his Twitch name, yes.
I am old and confused. So we were
Very
discussing right before stream started. We were discussing how I'm a
There,
millennial.
Grandpa, eat
It's
your
just that
applesauce.
it's the first millennium that I'm from, not the second one. But anyway, take it away, Amber. That's all I had.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We promise we will get back to RuneQuest after an intermission, but for now, we're going to check out a new game by Free League Press. By new, I mean new to us. It's been out for a couple years. Vaesen. And this game is rad. This game slaps. It uses the Year Zero engine, if you're familiar with it, as does several other Free League games. 2 of which I am currently playing and or reading right now. So forgive me if I mix the rules and the streams cross here, because they're all slightly different, but they use the same engine. We will march through this together.
I never allow knowing the rules to stop me from running or playing a game.
My problem
So-
is I know too many rules.
Yeah, that happens too. Yep, they all blend together. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
Like,
you gotta be like me and just run games with barely any fucking rules.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a
Yeah,
valid
this is a
tactic.
role-playing game. Good society. Just go have fun.
Yeah.
Compared to other games like RuneQuest and whatnot, this is a very rules-light system. It is very narrative-focused. It is about storytelling and character building and deep, dark, and traumatized pasts and the relationships we have with each other. But there are some rules to back it up when the shit hits the fan. The original Vaesen is a Nordic horror game. It takes place in the Nordic and Icelandic countries and involves a lot of their mythologies. The group plays investigators set in the late 1800s, early 1900s in a vague alternate quasi time period in the mythic North. And investigators go around and investigate the mysterious and supernatural occurrences that happen around their country and countries in order to protect humanity. We are playing with their Free League supplement, Mythic Ireland and Britain. So we'll be playing in, I don't have the flowchart up, but the British Isles and roundabouts areas for this game. Tonight, thank you all for joining us. We're doing a little session 0 / introductory scene or two to get us started, and then the campaign proper will start at our next session. So we're going to do a little bit of character creating here, mostly walking Sarah through this and helping anybody who has not finished their character finish up. But if you are new to Vaesen and want to see somebody walk through character creation, this next bit is for you.
Because I don't know what I'm
somebody.
doing.
The character creation is very easy and very painless in Vaesen. It's a relatively simple character. You do not have hundreds and hundreds of skills and derivative abilities and stuff like that.
Unlike other games.
Unlike other games. So if you like Crunch Light, you will like this.
It's a single page.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Just closing my Vaesen book here. All right, folks, got character sheets out. Some of you have made characters already. First step in character creation, Sarah, and others, if you've not gotten this far, is to assign attributes. There are 4 attributes in Vaesen, which together indicate what you are more or less good at. They are your physique, your precision, your logic, and your empathy.
So before that, you have to choose your age.
Yeah, your age will affect your starting attributes. That's true. That is true. If you're playing someone who's particularly young or particularly old.
You get a different amount of points depending on which age category you fall into.
So there are 3 age categories: young, middle-aged, and old. Young is 17 to 25, middle-aged is about 26 to 50, and old is 51 to Christian.
Nice.
And the way
the younger you are, the more attribute points you have, and the less skill points you have. The older you are, the more skill points you have, and the fewer attribute points you have, as your physique declines and your experience increases. And the opposite is true of the youth.
The youths.
The youths.
The youths.
In the book, it does say the first thing you should do is choose your archetype. Sarah already knows her archetype. You don't necessarily have to do that. If you're between things, you can kind of start building your character and be like, oh, I think they're more of a this. It helps you aim a bit. The archetypes are not like classes in a lot of other games where like you get all of your abilities and stuff from them. The archetype really only gives you like 1 or 2 things. And if you're a blend of archetypes, just pick one of them and be effectively both. Like they're much more of a flavor descriptor thing than they are like your class and your future like skill set.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but once you start buying, like earning experience and buying skills, it's pretty much like you can do whatever you want. Open architecture.
Correct. The 2 things your archetype affects really are your maximum attribute in your key attribute and your key skill. Everybody else is capped at 1 point lower for everything except their archetype special. They can get 1 point higher than anybody else in that. And your starting equipment. Equipment is very vague. This is not a game where your inventory is super important. You can just sort of have stuff most of the time, unless it's a really important thing. Depending on your wealth or anything you need to acquire, you can make a wealth check to either have had it or purchase it in game. Not super important inventory tracking in this. The other thing it affects is your starting talent. Your starting talent, people are locked into just the 3 starting talents available to their archetype at first level in character creation. Afterward, all archetypes and all classes open up to everyone. So if you were looking, you're like, I want to be a priest, but also a witch, like pick one to start with, wherever you want your archetype starting ability to be, and then take the other one the next time you buy an ability. It's fine. So yes, Sarah is playing the writer.
Which
Wow.
is very, very funny if you know me and my creative writing degree.
The writer also looks really fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's definitely a wild card class, or not class, wild card archetype.
I couldn't
just go
convince
around
her
and say
to
what
go
we're
with
playing?
drunken rugby player. I tried my best.
Do we want to go around and just introduce what we're playing? Do you want to take it a step at a time and just kind of do it that way? So I know Sarah's creating some of her stuff, but like, for instance, I'm playing.
Let's go around the character creation process and just that, and then you'll get a scene to actually introduce the character as a complete person.
I'm playing the occultist.
I'm playing the entertainer.
I am playing the private detective.
I am playing the vagabond.
And Sarah's playing the writer. Age is your next step to choose, Sarah. You've got young, middle-aged, and Christian.
I had pictured her around 30.
Around 30, so that's
middle-aged.
middle-aged, technically. You will be starting with 14 attribute points and 12 skill points.
Okay.
Everybody else, what are your age categories, out of curiosity?
Shit, Sarah, I'm actually younger than you. I'm playing, she's Rosalie is 24.
Hey.
But a spring chicken.
Young and, well, no, practically a widow, practically a fucking spinster in reality.
Dried up,
An
useless.
unmarried woman of 25 years old. Yeah.
Dang. I'm also young. I'm 25.
I am also young. I am also 25.
Oldest except
And
for
I
Troy.
am old balls. I
Jesus.
You're
You're 54?
All right.
Okay, there we
You're
go. I'm like,
You're
how
not the oldest.
millennials is?
Wow, you've lived a life.
You are the
I
oldest.
have
You are the
seen
crone
some
of the group.
shit.
If we are going about age archetypes for women, Sarah's the crone.
I
love it.
truly, at 30, the ripe old age of 30.
She's gonna live
30.
and die with her cats.
That feels like a writer thing. I
Don't
don't know.
threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. Listen, I love my cat. Are you kidding?
We have name, which you can do at the end of your character creation if that is how you rock. But I think everybody has their names now. They are in chats there.
They're not on the sheet, so we'll
They're
do
not
go
on that
around.
thing. I will get them on. The only one I have on is mine
Yeah,
because
that's
when I
fine.
made this, I had mine, but I'll get them on later.
We'll do that in
Uh,
character.
No
yeah,
worries,
yeah.
names.
All right. So now you're going to distribute your attribute points, Sarah. You can have. Where the fuck did my thing go? All right. So you can have your attribute scores are going to be between 2 and 5. The only one you can have a 5 in is your core ability for your class, which is the writer. Everything else is capped at 4 for you. No attribute can be lower than 2. I have to scroll back and forth because
My main attribute is empathy,
empathy. Perfect. So your empathy can be a
Which-
5. It does not have to be, but it can be. It's the only one that can.
which is also part of the reason I picked this, because that's a very Sarah.
Very Sarah.
Sarah playing the heart again.
Yeah.
Sarah's going
No,
true to
she's
type.
not. She
Oh.
maybe she's weird. Cecilia
There is no
weird.
heart.
You can be weird and heart.
Yeah, she's a bit of both.
We're in eldritch horror. We have no heart.
All right,
Well,
so go ahead
not
and distribute
yet.
those points as you see fit, Sarah.
Everyone else talk about your stats while I do some head math, if you wish. I don't know.
So the occultist main attribute is precision. So I maxed out on that, and I also I basically balanced out logic and empathy because they fit very well. There are skills that are very well for Rosalie. Rosalie is a painter, so there are skills that are very good for artwork and things like that within empathy and logic that I wanted to have. And I'm weak as fuck. I have a physique of 2. She's just a slight wisp of a thing.
Fantastic.
Yes.
The Year Zero engine is a dice pool system. So
Yeah.
when you roll to succeed on something, you are rolling your attribute plus the skill. So each skill has an associated attribute. You roll a dice pool that is combined of those. Sometimes you have a modifier due to a circumstance, a talent, or equipment. Sometimes not, but that forms your basic pool. You need 1 success in general to succeed at whatever you're doing. And a success is a 6. 5s don't do anything. So
Yeah,
you're just trying to
so-
score 6s.
For
Once in a
example,
while, you need more than 1 6. It is rare, except in opposed rolls, then you are trying to beat the score of whoever is opposing you.
yeah. So for example, Christian has a physique score of 2. So that's
Yeah.
2 dice that he would be
Yep.
rolling in addition to whatever skill it would be applied to. So you rolled that number
I
of dice.
should not get invites. I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
I
if
only
you
have-
don't
I
have
have
any
no
points
skills.
in a
Yeah,
skill, you're
I
just
don't.
rolling the attribute.
I'm just
pool.
rolling the attribute. Unless I have a gun, because that's a range combat is precision, and I fucking rock 5 dice on that shit. But I only have 2 for stabby stuff.
Yeah.
Surprise gun.
Want it.
Yeah.
Want it.
Surprise
Troy,
Glock.
we're back somewhere where you can get a gun. How stoked are you, buddy?
I don't know. I don't know if Ronaldo plays that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say that in
Ooh.
your character's wheelhouse now.
I think Rosalie needs a piece eventually, but she's not starting with one.
Damn.
Next step is to distribute your skill points. Your skill points are ranked between 0 and 5. The maximum you can have at starting is 2 in any skill except your archetype skill. That can be a 3. After you've created your character initially, you can start buying points and go all the way up to a maximum of 5 as you increase in skill.
What's everybody's 3? Because let's
Stealth.
be honest, we all maxed
Stealth.
out in our archetype.
Yeah, mine is stealth. So, like, she's a
Stealth?
sneaky person. Yeah.
Mine is
Yep.
manipulation.
Same.
I'm also very good at manipulation. I loaded up the social skills. So I have stealth as my best one, and then I took inspiration because that's artwork. observation,
Yeah,
empathy.
makes sense.
And then I got 2 in inspiration, 2 in manipulation, and 2 in empathy, 1 in vigilance, and 3 in stealth, and everything
Oh
else.
shit, Jess, they're all faces. This is the
Yeah,
opposite
that's
of what
great.
I
Yeah,
thought
we
we
have
were
a party
going.
of faces. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Riley?
Uh,
I figured. Try it. Troy.
I actually did not max out my
Really?
personal skill, which would be investigation. I left it at a 2
Okay.
because
More evenly distributing.
right up front. So Riley isn't your stereotypical private detective. It's not something that he's like attempting to make money off of. It is something that he is doing for a means.
I gotcha.
So like he is new to it. That is why I chose a 2 instead of maxing it out at a 3.
Okay. Okay.
All right, got it.
All right. You're going to choose your starting talent. You should have a list of 3 associated with your archetype. You must choose one of those 3. And then after that, you could get any talent from the general or any other class's archetype you can purchase later on in the game.
I think I already know which one I'm picking because it was the one that basically inspired my whole character.
Is it automatic writing?
It is, yes.
Fuck yeah. So you're going to write automatic
That's
writing down
so
for your
cool.
talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, reading that was a big thing that inspired Cecilia's whole character. So
The automatic writing reminds me of that conversation that we had at OPA, Amber, where the ghosts wanted to use your mouth. There's context there. We
I know.
won't get
Christian
into
and I
it.
are both like,
Like,
Troy
what?
was considering buying a haunted house, and I went with him on the house tour, and we were, joking about possession and ghosts wanting to taste this food.
Oh, okay.
so,
That's much
Yeah,
better
yeah,
than
I
what
was
I
like, they
immediately.
wanna
Okay.
Yeah.
Mouth.
I'm sorry.
It's a ghost like, what that mouth do? Whoa.
Mouth it now.
That
Taste
mouth.
that spanakopita.
I must draw attention to Sunday Meet in Chat. Archetype American skill surprise Glock.
Skill gun.
Surprise Glock.
I have one of those characters in this game.
Surprise Glock character?
oh no.
Surprise rifle, but
Well, now it's not a surprise. Thanks.
We just don't know which one it is.
I think we will pretty quickly.
you will.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bald
I
Eagle
looked at the
swoops
list,
down
yeah.
from on high.
We
I'm
are going to
elect to keep my talent secret for now.
this is organized in a different way than I would build the character if you go down the line here, but you can go down the line or organize it whatever way makes sense to you. I like to finish all the mechanical stuff at once, then do all the other stuff. So, Sarah, you have a small list of equipment to start with. Some of them are things you get automatically. Some of them are choices between like A and B or C. Go ahead and make the choices that you have and or get the automatics that you have.
scroll and back up. My equipment.
And equipment in this game is literally like you have maybe up to 3 things.
I will share the talent for the private detective because I think it is funny. It is the talent that I took is Eagle Eye. It gives me a +2 to dice pool to vigilance in a situation I am not a part of.
When you're observing from the background.
When I'm just like, I just show up and I'm just like, that guy stabbed that other guy, right?
I just feel like in my mind, Kent, I'm picturing the detective from The Wicker Man, just because of the vibe of the whole game.
Oh God.
It's just
Oh,
gonna
no.
be
Just so sweaty.
Oh no.
Glistening.
I don't get this reference. I'm sorry.
It's another
Neither
movie.
do
I'll
I.
never
You
see it.
watch
Don't worry
The
about
Wicker
it.
Man for Horror Film Club, and there's
Yeah.
a detective that comes to an island,
He's the worst part.
a pagan fuckfest island, essentially, and then uncovers the
The
pagan
greatest
fucking.
island in the
that
history
was
of
the
the
good
world.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And
Yeah.
he's very sweaty in one scene where a naked woman is dancing and singing very seductively.
Fair enough.
So sweaty.
Very
So sweaty.
uncomfortable.
After you have selected your equipment, you do get to choose or roll a memento.
What
There
I'm
is a
trying to find right now.
table of mementos on the Vaesen Core rulebook, page 23.
I am way past that. I'm at 223.
It's up at like character creation.
How'd I miss it?
And Sarah, you can pick an item from the list, you can roll, or you can create an item of similar.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what's there
Significance.
for inspiration.
One
There
of
it
them
is.
is a pet pigeon.
That's
awesome.
Did I
hilarious.
roll that?
Jess
already?
and birds, guys.
Speaking of pet pigeons, the one shot that drops tonight, my character had a very interesting pet pigeon. So
Oh no.
no spoilers, but
Is this
it's
the
pretty good.
reintroduction of
Yes,
I think I know who you
it
are.
is.
Okay.
It
It's the
is.
I know
Dungeon World
exactly.
character.
It
Yeah.
is. Yes.
Nice.
I'm going to.
Amber, I'm gonna send you a little a spoopy secret thingamabobber.
Hell yeah, whisper to me in the chat.
In the meantime, I'll talk
Secrets.
about my talent too. I took famous. So you might have heard of me. I was a famous magician in competition with another magician before my character disappeared. Before Nora
Nice.
disappeared.
Spoopy.
Nora disappeared, not your competition.
Yes, Nora disappeared.
Okay.
Not my competition.
And I guess my mine is well traveled, which is going to be hopefully really fun to incorporate in this game. Basically, once per mystery, I can choose to know an NPC that will be a part of whatever it is that we're doing. But I don't control if they're friendly or hostile or what have you. I just basically have run into them in the past in my travels. And I'm hoping to flavor this in a way that Rainey might be able to pop in for a session here or there and play the said NPC. So
Hell
that would be
yeah.
pretty cool.
Nice.
So Rainey's prepared to be like anyone on the fly, or does he have a person in mind that you're gonna pull in?
I think he has one person in mind that he wanted to play at some point, but anybody, he understands it could be anybody
Gotcha.
that Amber could throw his way.
Gotcha.
Also, Max, thank you for 13 months resub, homie.
Oh,
I love the little fucking weird. What's that, Sam? Is that what his name is? Yeah. Little weird dude. Sorry, I'm making Amber answer hard questions
No, it's
because
okay.
I have specific ideas.
So I'm not going to talk about my talent. So
that's fine.
we'll find that out
Secret, yeah.
as we play. It'll be a secret surprise for later. A secret Mousecatool we'll play later.
Okay, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad we were on the same
Secret
wavelength.
Yes.
Mousecatool.
Listen, that's what my siblings grew up in that era. I understand.
It's a
Oh,
secret
right.
Mousecatool.
That show's still on. My niece and nephew
Oh my
watch
God, are you
that.
serious? I actually
Think so,
like that
yeah.
show. The show I hated was Dora. I cannot stand Dora the Explorer.
Really?
Oh, I hated her.
I was okay with Dora. I liked Dora. I didn't
I
like
don't
the
have a
Teletubbies.
problem. I
That was
don't
probably
have
too
a
young,
problem
but-
with Dora as a person. I just find the
As a
show
person.
itself to be like
Have it?
very condescending because it'll just be
Oh.
like she'll be literally standing in front of like the ocean and she'll be like, "Where's the ocean?" And
you're
she'll like
trying to
stare at the
teach- wow,
screen
that
like
is
you're a
not her
moron for
accent
like
at
5
all.
minutes. And she's like, "That's right, kids. That's where the ocean is." And it's like, of course it's some fucking ocean. It's behind you. Like I would get so aggravated because it's like, don't
Because
condescend
it's
to my
made for,
child.
like, it's made for. That's how you. Like,
But he
teach
would be
the
like, my kid would be like, "Yeah, it's right behind you. It's behind you, Dora. It's behind you,
Christian,
Dora."
a 6-month-old would be like, whoa.
I know, but
It's
I
made for,
don't.
like little kids.
I understand that. It just like
But I
I
mean,
just
that
don't
A
like Dora.
6-month-old is basically a potato with legs.
I did like Swiper though. Swiper was cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was my same frustration with the Teletubbies, except Dora wasn't weird and like the Teletubbies. Were,
Yeah,
like,
Dora was not weird. I'll actually give you that. Teletubbies are very weird. Like
Yeah.
like
And
like
it was
what
the
is
same
the like?
thing.
Yeah,
A lot of repetitive.
Keep an eye
questions,
on
a lot of
Tinky
obvious
Winky.
things.
That guy's a little
Yeah.
sus.
I always felt that the Teletubbies were extremely sus.
Have you seen their TikTok?
No.
No.
Oh God.
They have a TikTok account. It's full of memes, and it's a banger.
Oh,
It's a
shit.
banger.
The thing I have to tell you all that I forget every single time in Vaesen is that resources also uses skill points. It is a skill that is not in your skill list. It uses skill points for resources.
So like you start with your lowest number, so your archetype will give you a range. You actually start with your lowest number. If you want to be any higher, you have to spend one of your skill points to get that.
To
To get
To
up
buy a
to your
talent.
high number.
Come
I
live
think
in
it's-
squalor
no,
with
no,
me,
level.
folks.
At
Fuck,
starting
fuck.
play, it is you spend a skill point. Then like later you buy a talent after
You know,
starting play.
Oh,
actually
yeah.
save that's interesting. Okay.
So all of your archetypes have a resource range. You start at your lowest number automatically. You can increase that up to a maximum of your highest number
Wow.
by
Okay.
spending skill points 1 for 1.
Can you just
I am
explain
fucking
what
poor.
resources are?
Yes. So resources is an abstract representation of your wealth buying power and sort of your lifestyle. For example, a resource value of 1 is destitute. You are completely dependent on others for survival. Every day is a struggle for food, and you have few, if any, belongings. This may have caused you to contract disease, starve, or turn to drugs or alcohol for relief. A 4 is financially stable. You own your own home and have a job that provides a steady income. Most likely, you have some money stashed away. Occasionally, you may treat yourself to some sweets or a trip or a beautiful object. In times of crisis, there are people to lend you money.
There's a table in the book that tells you kind of.
Yep, the table is on page 22. That'll give you an idea of where you are sitting. So as I said, like the game doesn't really nitpick equipment and stuff. Like when there's a question of whether or not you have something on you or access to something, you just look at your resource score and see if it makes sense, generally speaking. If you're trying to bribe someone or acquire something that's sort of like different than daily needs, you can roll your resources as like a resource check. That would be your dice pool for that.
What is poor and how does poor work?
Poor is you live very simply. Most days there's food on the table, but far too little. If you have children, they are forced to live in squalor. You might own a change of clothes and a few possessions. Loss of income would be disastrous for you and your family.
That's
because I have to would you take away a skill point to do this? I was at like 3, but I'm not going to be at 3. I'll just be 4. Makes sense. Fits my character.
Cecilia's at 3, which as I'm
struggling. You're a starving artist.
Struggling.
You have a humble home, fixed income. You have no money for savings, but you can dress yourself and your family for special occasions. And if you have children, they have some access to education, at least a few years.
Yeah. Which makes sense for Cecilia, as her whole deal as a writer is she's had 1 hit novel. And you've been living off of that lifeblood as it's slowly been trickling down, and now we're which is why
trying to get a little lean here.
That fixed income is very, very carefully spending novel money. Yes.
Yep.
Hello, Kat.
Read to my character, just max resources, Bruce Wayne it up. Somehow the meme of me being rich trickled in here.
Hello, everyone. Streamcat is here. Say hi to Winnie.
Streamcat.
Hello, Black Boy.
Hey, baby. What are you doing?
Look at those eyes.
Are you on stream?
She's got monster eyes right now.
She does.
Crap.
She's
so
like, I am
pissed.
dissatisfied with this.
The last sentence in
situation.
wealthy, which is 7. The only time you see any poor people is through your carriage window.
Not in my dice tray.
I love it.
Oh, goes right for it.
That's the character I should have made.
That's your other archetype, Christian.
Yes.
Chill out.
All right. So knowing that and having distributed your skill points, I always forget that that's in there. It's like a little like, by the way, if you want more resources, here's how you get them.
I did not see that in the rules. I just figured you picked one that was like appropriate for your character concept.
Yeah, no, we start at the bottom and you
Yeah.
can go up to the top, but
That's
you have
interesting.
to spend skill points.
All right. That's okay.
Afterward, there is a
works for
talent you can take later in game that increases your resource by 2, I think. That is the thing you can do. Okay, so we got that. We got the equipment and mementos. We've got, let me bounce around here. I think that is all of the crunchy stuff that there is in this game. So the next part is all of the more story things involved in the game. All characters need to choose and or create. I'm getting into gameplay. A motivation, a trauma, and a dark secret. They will also pick relationships at the end. So due to the secret nature of some of these things are secrets for the stream that you will see through play and they will discover and whatnot with each other. So we're not going to go and straight up read out the sentences for all of these. But anybody at this point can share what each other would know about it. So you have joined a semi-secret society full of adept researchers. There is a certain amount of notoriety that you and your lives probably have and would be somewhat known to other members in the society. That is information that you can share now. You can also share it in terms of rumors. It doesn't necessarily have to be completely true, but is what people think about you or what some digging has turned up about you.
Go first. I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. Other thing is, these items have some game
impact.
Some in-game impact. Thank you. The words are just leaving me. So the motivation, when it says motivation, it means your motivation and drive to pursue the supernatural. It is what led you to join the society, and it is what leads you to keep pursuing this dangerous life and digging into these dark places. Your trauma is usually a traumatic event that has occurred to you. They are often supernatural have some sort of supernatural bent or nature to them, but they don't necessarily have to. And usually the traumatic event is what has given your character the sight. All player characters in Vaesen, the vast majority of them are entirely mundane except for the sight. They can see Vaesen even when they wish to be hid. Normal people cannot see Vaesen unless they wish to reveal themselves. They are otherwise invisible and often undetectable. But investigators have the sight usually as a result of their trauma and this dramatic encounter that they had at some point. People with the sight are often called Thursday's children, from the nursery rhyme. Wednesday's child is full of woe. Thursday's child has far to go. And there's one for each day of the week. So Thursday's children, you have far to go. Then
I could rock Wednesday as well.
Yeah, Wednesday's child is full of woe.
Yeah, but you're not a child.
Characters all also have to have a dark secret. A dark secret is something that adds stakes to the game. It is something that will have negative, sometimes disastrous consequences to the characters if discovered publicly or to the people that they care about. What is a negative or disastrous consequence is very personal. This could be something that brings you a great point of shame or makes you relive a trauma, or it could ruin your reputation in society. But whatever it is disastrous or extremely negative, very undesirable to your individual character, to you. It matters more about your perception than the perception of society in the case of the dark secret. So all of the Vaesen characters are flawed. Examples of dark secrets could be a drug addiction that you are hiding. It could be a murder you have committed. It could be something less. It could be something even like more personal that someone on the street wouldn't blink an eye at, but the people you know and love would look at you differently forever, maybe even cease to love you or respect you. Those are all examples of dark secrets and their nature. Should a dark secret ever be revealed and or resolved, your character will develop another one. You'll never be a perfect person with nothing to hide in this game. So those are little tidbits that are fun to pick apart and taunt and press the player characters with. They are knives for the GM. We will not be revealing dark secrets yet, just rumors that may perhaps hint at something in their pasts.
Just going to hand Amber all of the knives.
Give me a knives.
Yeah, I gave her some big ones.
If everyone wants to do a little meta introduction that involves the sort of what is known amongst the other players more or less and other members of the society more or less about your characters, whether or not it is true.
Since everyone is so eager to step forward, I'll go first. So my character is named Rosalie Bargrove. She has a lot of a reputation in London. People would know her. She's called the Witch of Dartmoor. What your characters would know about her is that she was raised in Devon, in Dartmoor in Devon, which is kind of a lonely, forlorn part of Britain outside of London. She is from the peerage. She's from a very, very good family. Something happened to her when she was a child, where she was missing for 9 days and then was found. And after that she became pretty problematic throughout her childhood. And as a matter of fact, when she came of age, she was actually sent away by her family. And she was sent to the Middlesex County Lunatic Asylum in Hanwell, outside of London. It was a real place. And lunatic asylum being the term they used back then. And she spent several years there until she got out for some reason. But she's become very, very known for her artwork, which is considered very, very scandalous and very profane. Absolutely profane. And so she lives in close to Whitechapel, off of Whitechapel High Street in London, kind of a really bad section of London in that time. She because her family has no contact with her. She makes a very bare living with her artwork because there are always people who like strange and macabre things.
The
so she makes a living with that.
Is her saving grace right
Correct.
now.
Right now it is her saving grace. But still, she's barely scraping by and has a bit of a bad reputation, honestly, as for those things. She looks a little bit like, if you've seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, Winona Ryder's Mina when she starts to become like unhinged. So she wears, and she's
Very
wears
pale.
very pale.
Sickly.
Her hair is kind of like frizzy and all over the place. Her clothes. No, her clothes were nice clothes, but they're starting to wear. And she's got like the fingerless gloves and like shawls that are like too thin to stay warm in the cold weather and things like that. So that's Rosalie. Yep.
Excellent.
Wow.
She does know Cecilia through from being a writer and an artist. They've traveled in similar circles, and she has in the past met Ronaldo, who is Troy's character,
on a chance occasion.
A chance occasion, which you can describe. So that's Rosalie.
Yeah. So I will say with my character, Riley O'Day. He's from Ireland. Actually, just recently, few months, maybe 6 months or so, new to London. I guess he's been making a name for himself for being able to spot the details that other people can't quite see. So he's been making a living in London kind of as a private detective. Not that much to his own willingness.
Do you know why you came to London?
Yes, I know.
To us as players, or
what would they know as
our characters?
Yeah, as a new new person here from Ireland.
So he seems to be there isn't particularly a reason that he's stated why, but he seems to be searching for something, and that is what brought him to London.
Okay.
Honestly, to anyone who has gotten to know him at meetings or whatnot while we've been here, he was back in Ireland, back in his home county of County Clare. He was a instrument maker and part-time barkeep.
Oh.
When people's instruments didn't break, he needed to make some money somehow, so bartending it is.
As someone who has been both a bartender and someone who investigates crime, the two are far more similar than you might think.
That's what I was thinking today. It's like why
they're almost the same job.
Yeah, I literally told everybody that the job that I had that best prepared me to be a police officer was being a bartender.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like that's what I thought. I actually thought of it today. I was like, oh, what did Riley do before he came to London? Because like he had to do something, and I was like, I wanted him to do something with music, but I was just like, it's like he's 25. He's not going to be like well off enough to be
right
to like
booze
to boot. But I was like what else would be prevalent over there? Bars, pubs.
Hell yeah.
So he was he helped out at a local pub back in his home town, and he basically that's what trained him to spot the small things.
Right. I do have a question for the group. Does anybody want to be the oldest and or newest member of the society, and or does anybody have any like preference on kind of where they fall?
No preference.
You're all new members, as in you've been in the part of society for a year or less ish.
Sure.
The oldest or newest among your group of new recruits, though. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I would say I would want to be on the newer end, but it doesn't matter to me if I'm the newest.
Cecilia would be on the older end because she would go seek something like this out.
Okay.
Maybe right after you, then Cecilia.
I would say Riley is probably the newer, because I've stated he's been in London for maybe only about 6 months.
Okay. I'll say I'm probably I'm also a newer member to the society. So sometime around when Nora and Riley were there is roughly when I started showing up.
Did you have anything else for your thing, Riley? Did you come alone to London?
Yes, he came alone to London. One thing I will state, I did find my memento. It is a pocket watch that he does. He does hold with fondness, and it's always the first thing he makes sure he has.
Amber, are you muted?
Am I muted?
Oh,
no,
okay.
she was just making faces.
No,
I said all right, but it must have been very quiet.
It did not, yeah.
All right.
So I am the extraordinary Eleanor. I was once a famous magician in competition with another magician known as the Conjurer. But there was an accident and some people died at my show. And then I pretty much disappeared until I showed up here at the society. And I can't seem to accomplish a magic trick really well anymore. And I am kind of seeking magic in order to kind of harness magic again. I want to be great again. That's my character. Yes, the extraordinary Eleanor, but I go by Nora.
Did you also come alone? Or like you have any family or anything?
I am pretty much alone, but I grew up in London.
Okay. All right. So my character's name is Ronaldo. He is a old gentleman. He's a fairly quiet guy. He's reserved. He always kind of keeps his eyes down, avoids eye contact with people typically, but if someone confronts him or tries to strike up a conversation, he'll offer them a warm smile and he'll, talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about. Ronaldo also has a dog that never leaves his side. Her name is June, and she is a beautiful black Irish wolfhound. She has been Ronaldo's companion for as long as any of you would assume. Ronaldo is, he looks like he's of either Irish or Scottish descent, but he claims that he is not from around here.
Does he have an accent?
I would say, I'm trying to think of how much of his upbringing he might have told you guys. I think he might have just kept it vague at that. His skin is very sun-kissed, but not in a good way. It's very weathered and worn. He's lived a really
leathery.
Am I muted now? Oh, no.
Leathery.
No,
Yeah.
Sun-kissed, the way you kiss a tray when someone swings it at your face. Right.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Ronaldo's lived a very tough life. He has done pretty much any jobs that he's needed to scrape by. He has spent a pretty substantial period of his more recent years being homeless. He has struggled with starvation and being the victim of various crimes and not having safety and shelter and all of those things. So, but aside from that,
does Ronaldo have an accent? A foreign accent?
I'm going to say yes, he does. I am not going to do this accent, though.
I am also going to do very few, if any, accents. I'm terrible at them.
Ronaldo has a distinctly Italian accent.
Italian, okay.
You're gonna do the Italian accent the way Joaquin Phoenix did the French accent when he played Napoleon, which is to say he didn't.
And he's got
the way Sean Connery did a Spanish accent in The Highlander, and Christopher Lambert did
the way the entire cast of Les Mis did French accents,
Don't
which
worry,
is to
Chris,
say they did English accents.
Yeah.
Ronaldo McDonald Ray and stuff. That's amazing. Oh shit. Okay, so yes, other than that, he carries a walking stick. I would say Rosaline and Cecilia, you guys may have experienced you were probably in the society before Ronaldo was a member, and you may have had encounters with him during the very first couple of times that he appeared there, when he was in a really rough way. I mean, he hadn't cut his hair in probably years. He was like really skinny, not healthy, sick, and over the past like probably 3 or 4 months that he's been a member of the society, you can frequently catch him kind of hanging out there. He's since now like clean shaved. He appears to be in a little bit higher spirits. He's clean, he's sheltered, he's put on some weight, he's no longer emaciated. But yes, so that. Oh, and June is always.
Cecilia has seen in Ronaldo what awaits her should she not write another best-selling novel soon.
Yeah.
June likes all of the women in the group and is not particularly fond of men.
So fuck you in particular, Riley.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry,
literally
Ken, no dog
the
for
heart
you.
of the group. Fuck you, Riley.
No dog. All right, so Cecilia was born in Scotland but moved to England with her family when she was probably like 10 to 13. So her accent is a weird mix of both, and that's the excuse I'm using for my shit accent that y'all get to hear. Her family was lower middle class. They got by, but sickness took both her parents, and when she was in her late teens, ended up living under in one of those, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? The nuns, where the nuns take care
convent.
of her. She lives in a convent for
growing
up for a while
Nice.
under the nuns, and
You'll
basically
come out
just
completely normal.
Catholic as fuck.
yeah. And she basically made pocket change by doing their cleaning and their laundry and their cooking and whatever. But she always loved art and writing, and she published a couple of poems, nothing crazy. But when she was in her, I'll say this happened like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when she was 27 or 28. She actually, and this is how you guys would know Cecilia, she published a novel that was fairly successful, partially because it was very well written, and partially because there was a bit of a scandal about it. It is a romance novel. However, neither of the two romantic leads have any gendered pronouns used on them, and both leads' names are gender neutral, so it is up to the reader what the genders of the two love interests are. She's gotten away with it. She's gotten away with it because she's like, oh, of course it's a man and a woman, and this, you could
which one's the man and which one's the woman? Like, I'll never tell.
Yeah, you get to pick. It's up to you.
Can't you tell?
Yeah, it's like,
turn it back on him.
You can't picture the characters the way I can, just artistic vision. But because it's not like overtly homosexual, she never could get in trouble for it because it's just a good book. And she's and you guys would know she's chasing that writing bug ever since. She's constantly scribbling something in one of her notebooks, constantly writing stuff down.
I love it. You were like, a scandalous romance novel, and I was like, Space Raptor butt invasion.
No, it's just
the first Tingler.
It might be a little gay. We don't know. If
any of you haven't checked out Chuck Tingle, check out Chuck Tingle. He's a delightful human
being.
Is that his first
Tingle.
book?
That's the first Hugo Award nominated book.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh geez. We're all out of pronouns. Oh geez.
Oh geez.
If you ever want,
and there's a whole story behind that Hugo Award nomination. It's definitely worth like the internet dive.
Honestly, if you ever want a good time, just like look at Chuck Tingle book covers. Like, it's just fun.
The Wise Man's Butt. That's my favorite. Neil Gaiman and Patrick Rothfuss were like, it was a thing that was born on Twitter in conversation with Chuck Tingle. Neil Gaiman and Patrick Rothfuss, and it was amazing.
Pardon, Kat is in a box she shouldn't be in.
This is not her box.
As they do.
All right, we've got a little bit of a background on each of our characters here. The final thing that characters must do is establish a relationship. This is a relationship that you have with each character, or your playbook has a couple recommendations for you. They're literally just examples. You can make up whatever you want. The relationships are usually styled as in like an opinion of someone, versus like something like more tangible, like, oh, this person makes my coffee or something. It's like an opinion of them or something.
I think this person is trustworthy. I think this
person is trustworthy, or this person is up to no good.
I despise
and they
this person.
may or may not be true. They're about perception. The relationships can be related to some sort of encounter or backstory, or how you have known the person before the society, if you have known them before the society. It is also perfectly fine to have not known any of these people before you joined the same semi-secret society. You've all been in it for a few months now, at least, and you would be familiar with each other. You may have gone on a couple training missions together, shadowing one of the more senior members. There are monthly meetings at the Rose House every time. You've all interacted to some degree. So relationships.
I would say, for instance, Rosalie and Cecilia know each other from artistic circles. I would say that she likes her a lot, because there's another reason that we won't get into right now. And Troy and I had talked previously that we had a meeting. I would say that she, I don't want to just say she likes Ronaldo. I'd say she probably feels a little bit protective of him. I feel she owes him something, because she was being hassled by some moralists regarding her artwork, and Ronaldo in June came in and kind of like big scary dog scared them off, because she was being pushed around and stuff. And so she invited him in, shared some food and stuff with him, and made a collar for June to protect her, because Rosalie thinks she's a witch, and so made a protective collar for her. So
there is a couple other important pieces to that, Christian, that I just want to let the viewers know. So that happened. This was before either of us were in the society when this event happened, and the event transpired like during a really bad storm where it was thundering and lightning, and Rosaline basically let Ronaldo take shelter in her modest little shop.
It's a very crappy art studio / apartment. It's like one
the
bedroom.
Front of it is the studio. The back of it is where you sleep.
No, it's all the same.
Right.
You sleep in the studio. There's nothing. There's no it's as shitty as you could possibly imagine it. Yeah.
So during that encounter, while he was waiting out the storm, he drew a picture using Rosaline's supplies of a butterfly, and he gave it to Rosaline. And then Rosalie. And then she gave him a collar for June. So yes, that was the other important part I wanted to mention.
I would say, because I'm just going to do all of mine and then we can talk. I don't trust you, Riley.
That's fine.
I do not trust Riley.
Like a cop.
He's investigating something. He's not saying what. I don't like that. I don't like you. The only one I don't know is Nora. So what are you thinking, Jess?
I don't know. Nora's she's kind of a nervous person. She practices her magic a lot, but she's kind of she's clumsy. She's like a clumsy person now. She's a little suspicious too, I guess. I don't know.
So do you do like stage magic that you practice, or are you practicing like real
stage magic? Yes, I do stage magic. I haven't been able to do a successful trick, so if you ask her to do one, she will try, but like drop things on the ground and not
pull a rabbit out
rings
of the
together. Yeah.
Rabbit jumps away, or it's like a pigeon
nervously.
instead. Damn it.
Exactly. Sort of. Nothing really. She's also a starving artist, I will say too. Like, she does not have a dime to her name. Meta-wise, I don't know who would know this with the rumors too. Her accident at her theater, she sawed someone in half, but like for real.
I figured that what it was. I was going to make the joke. I was like, Jess, it's like a couple people died, and I was like, I saw the wrong part of the
Amber's
box.
idea,
Got
actually. I was like, I need people to die.
How long ago was that, Jess?
Probably like less than a year, maybe 6 to 8 months.
I think
would have been in the newspapers.
Yes,
So,
it was in the papers. She
I
was
would
a
say
fairly well-known stage magician and accidentally sawed someone in half.
Rosalie would have been out of the institution by then, so she probably has heard of it.
Jess, would you be cool with Cecilia
That's
having
why she's
been at
broke
that
now,
show?
too. Took all
and
the
she
money on the
saw it
lawyer
happen?
and payoffs.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
Yeah, Cecilia knows of Nora because she was at that show. They didn't meet personally, but she saw that happen. Hell yeah.
I was pretty great before that. Just, all the other tricks were great.
I'm actually going to think that Rosalie is oddly fascinated by the fact that you killed someone in front of a bunch of people. So she's fascinated by you. That's what I'm going to go by.
I see that.
Yeah.
And Nora does not want to talk about it.
Yeah, she's always like, what did you feel? What happened? Was it like, did he scream? Was there blood? Did you get the blood? Like, she's always asking like uncomfortable questions about.
What color was it? What did their eyes look like?
Did it smell?
Did
he know he was dying?
Left?
Yeah. Like...
That is my first relationship.
Did they know they were dying?
I'm comfortable with Rosalie.
So I also want to say, because about 6 months ago would have been when Riley first got to London. And I kind of want to say that he was also at that show.
Ooh, everybody
like,
saw
new town. New town. Let's go see a show.
Yeah, it's like yeah, okay. Like I have some time before I have to get to where I'm staying and whatnot. Blah blah blah. Oh, let's check out this the show. They don't have that back home. And it's just like, oh shit. And
oh shit.
he's like the Irish guy's like fucking crazy British people.
But because of his just like background, able to notice the small things, before you disappeared, I kind of want to put out that Riley had, if you didn't just like vanish off the stage.
I was gonna say Riley might actually know this because so she didn't actually disappear. Like the rumors are that she disappeared.
Yeah, fell out of spot.
I couldn't get a job.
Yes, no. But like before you like disappeared off the scene, type of thing. Like, or maybe you didn't know at the time, but Riley may have saw something that proved your innocence.
Ooh, okay. I'm okay with that too. We can talk.
And that can come up at some point later, and like maybe our first meeting, and be like, oh hey, you're that, so on and so forth. And it's like that's oh no like I noticed something. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but maybe like this seemed out of whack, type of thing.
Nope, Amber has an idea.
I have an idea. I'm gonna type it in the chat just in case it's something you want to keep secret, Jess. For now, let me see here. Where are you?
Does Cecilia mention anything to Nora in their time-ish?
Probably not.
Okay.
Mostly because, especially if she sees anyone else do it, she's just like, this is not how we talk about. She'll probably talk to her about her magic because Cecilia is always looking for inspiration. But she probably won't bring up that she saw you kill a guy.
But that's okay, because Rosalie's like, what was it like?
Exactly.
How did you select the person you saw it in half? Did you hear voices before you did it? Like, how did people react to it? Yeah, she's always asking you just weird questions about it.
So everyone knows. I can't even hide it. Everyone knows.
Yeah, but Rosalie thinks it's cool.
Yeah, so Cecilia's like, watches those two talk, and she's like, she doesn't want to talk about this. I'm not going to ask.
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Do you want me to say that out loud, Kent, or do you want me to message him it?
Message me it.
Oh, it's vague enough. Either way is fine. I think you can say it out loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she disappeared from the public light and performing scene after the terrible accident. What you were saying about maybe having seen something on stage, I think it may be a better fit if you have actually seen one of the 2 or 3 performances she did afterward. It's not well known because she could only get into very small dive venues, but she has performed since the terrible accident. And the performances were very different, and something may have caught your eye that led you to, perhaps invite Lorelai to come and watch the next one with you. And now Eleanor is in the society. Those performances were unusual. She stopped performing after just 1 or 2 of them, or maybe 3.
Okay.
So if you're interested in that, Jess can share a few more details about what it was that you noticed. That would be private. But they were unusual.
Okay, yeah, that like would switch our like time.
And that way you may have had a hand in her recruitment in that you mentioned something to one of the senior members who then checked her out, and now sure enough, she is here with you.
That still could have been like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
it could have been like 8 months ago. And
then, it could have been like the accident, and then like it's like, oh yeah, I didn't know about the accident, but
you could have been at the accident show, and then when you found out, just ear to the ground that holy shit, I can't believe she's performing again.
No, I kind of like the
or both.
It happened before Riley arrived, and then he went to a show unbeknownst to the rumors, but he, being in the crowd, being like, oh, this is the magician who sawed that person in half. Do you think they're going to do it again?
All I'm ever going to be known.
And then you saw something that was unusual and extraordinary in a very different way than sawing someone in half was, that you were like, oh, shit.
Yes. Okay. I like that.
I like it too.
All right. Cool.
For Ronaldo's relationships, I just kind of tried to word them almost like the kind of like.
Did we skip around on Jess? Jess, did you finish yours?
I didn't, but I don't really have.
Oh no.
Work.
Go
I
ahead.
don't think I'm not doing all of mine now. I don't have.
Oh, okay.
Them, so go ahead, try.
Somebody who has more than Jess.
Yeah, go ahead, try.
So I tried to word them almost like a Bluebeard's Bride, sort of, is what I was thinking of. But yeah,
I mean, I love that game.
We'll just see what happens. So,
to the GM.
Cecilia's words are powerful for those who will listen. Riley is kind, but his eyes are judging, and June doesn't like him. I feel safe around Rosalie.
Sucker.
Nora's biggest disappearing act is her sense of self. I hope she finds it.
Shit, that actually sounds like it's a good fit, knowing what she's going through.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's what I got.
Shit. All right, who's got other ones? And this can be a conversation too if you've not yet filled them out. This is one of the more collaborative parts of the creation.
I definitely want to talk to Christian about Rosalie not liking Riley, and maybe it's because he noticed something that others usually overlook.
Bro.
So we can go with that. Yeah. What are you thinking? Let me ask you what you're thinking, and I'll give you some input.
I'm not 100% sure with Rosalie's character, but like maybe it was he has a because I think you kind of alluded to this beforehand, that maybe he kind of knows about your dark secret.
Yeah. So let's say
or has like kind of started to hone in on it.
So I think we can leave up to Amber, because Amber knows what my dark secret is. I don't know what you're looking for, because I don't know what yours is. But...
They are very closely related.
Okay.
They can certainly be very related. So I think it makes sense that Riley, knowing his dark secret and why he's and what he is specifically hunting for right now, would have your scent trail, Rosalie.
Yeah, so that she senses that, and that's why she doesn't like. Yeah.
That he is asking of you is, where did you go, Rosalie? When you disappeared for 6 days, Riley, that bloodhound part of you that you have had to cultivate really, really wants to know where Rosalie went.
Okay,
that's fair.
So it's he's trying to dig into your past that you don't want to
find more about that because you've got a feeling you have caught a scent, Riley.
That's fair. And Rosalie spends is as far from you as possible at all times.
Yep.
I'm thinking the same thing about Nora. Like, Nora doesn't want to talk about her past, and specifically those shows that Riley has seen. And so
he only saw the first show after the accident.
That first show. So she kind of avoids you too.
That's fine. That's great. Fair. Like
he's like, don't talk to the fucking cops. He's like, I'm not a cop. I'm a bartender.
We're all like, fuck you, pig. Right?
My passion is music.
He's like, I play the fiddle.
Flute, actually.
I play the fiddle.
Jam sesh.
We could play music together.
So I was thinking about
trusted each other.
I know. If only we trusted each other someday in the future, maybe.
I was thinking about like Riley's backstory and like what he could have done. My first thing is like, it's like, because I did some research, like County Clare, that's the land of the O'Days, and
land of the O'Days.
Like that's where the county that they came from, type of thing, like where their ancestral home is, and it's actually like the county of like Irish, like the Irish folklore music. Really, it came from.
That's cool.
A lot of famous musicians came from there. So I was like, oh, maybe he was like a famous instrument maker. And I was like, no, he's only 25. He can't be a famous instrument maker. And then I was like, oh, maybe his family, it's a family business, as it tends to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
your father, your grandfather is a great craftsman of
I think one of the things that I thought of was it drove me down the road of like who were famous musicians of this time, and the one that popped out to me was the blind piper of Ignay in County Clare. That maybe not me, but my father or grandfather made one of his fiddles. But
y'all did so much more historical research than me. This is amazing.
I fell into a hole. I was like, what
that's valid.
Can I do? And I was just like, yeah.
Cecilia is vibes and one very specific concept alone.
That's mostly me too.
Right.
I got no history. I think I finished the rest of mine. I think that I am going to really respect Ronaldo, and he has like, seems like he's traveled a lot, and he's just learned like maybe tricks from around the world, or just like tricks of trade and things that are just kind of more efficient. And I think she tries to learn and pick up on that to kind of help with her craft too. And I kind of think I might be a fangirl of Cecilia's book.
Oh, that's so cute. Hell yeah.
I should be like a total awkward fangirl of Cecilia's book.
Oh shit, I gotta come up with a name for it before our next
yeah, we need a title.
Before
it's gotta
our
be
next
very Victorian.
Show. I know. Oh. I'll figure it out between now and then.
All right. I think. Do you have any more, Sarah? Are you up for relationships?
I really only have two.
That's fine. You can share those, and others can come organically.
Exactly. It was the two we already knew, where she knows of Nora because she was at the show. Her and Rosalie run in the same art circles and other attaché thing. She's probably met Ronaldo Troy. I think we said like they met in like a library or over books at some point once. But it was just like a kind of a passing chat.
I think
specified.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm sure there's a library here.
Yes, Rose House has a very nice library.
Yeah,
I bet you've seen him there a lot reading.
And I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of libraries in London.
Yeah. So she probably didn't meet Ronaldo or Riley until joining the society, since I think Cecilia was the first of all of the five of us to join.
Sounds like
it.
Yeah.
I think
so she watched everyone come in. Yeah.
Cecilia, are any of your fellow recent recruits, perhaps, would they make good inspiration for your next novel?
Ooh.
Something to think about.
Yeah, actually.
Doggo.
Well, I was
Oh
gonna
my
say,
God.
actually, I think she's kind of curious about Riley because
I was
it's
gonna
like,
say, like, who doesn't want to write a detective novel?
yeah, like, why is this guy here? Why does everyone try and avoid him? Like, what's his deal? So if you're cool with that, Kent, Cecilia's curious
Maybe
about
we have a
Riley.
detective character.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that's actually a good thing because that would be a very interesting thing because you're trying like I'm trying to talk to people about their past and you're trying to talk to me about mine and I'm
Yeah.
having none of it.
Yeah. It's like, no, I get to do the talking, not the
Yeah.
asking, not you.
Well,
What?
no, not even that. Like you try to bring up his past and he skirts around some certain things and he's like you ask if he has a family and it's like yes he admits he has a family back
No,
home
my
and you
family's
try
back
to
home.
you
Where's
try to
home? Ireland.
Ireland. No
He-
shit.
All of Ireland.
he'll
North
get
or the other part of Ireland. Just
Ireland.
he'll get into the specifics of the
I like
where
to
and
center.
And wool.
but so when it comes to the specifics of his family, his immediate family, he kind of shuts down and he'll be like, it's like, oh yeah, I have a family back home. And you try to ask more, and he's just like, yeah, I have a family back home.
Perfect.
fantastic. Did I miss anything else in this character creation area? I think we're possibly done. Is there anything on your character sheet that strikes you as blank? That is the next question.
Insights and defects.
Yeah.
That shouldn't
Pick
be
those
blank.
Yeah, so insights and defects are things that you will have. We're going to call it an opportunity to gain during gameplay. Insights and we're going to call it an opportunity. Insights and defects come from being critically injured, almost killed, but not quite dying. When that happens, there is a small chance that you will gain a permanent insight or defect. The defect comes from, a crippling injury that is never going to heal. The insight is a quasi-supernatural insight or ability that you get as a result of your near-death experience.
I like that a lot.
It is vague enough in its nature that if you're a religious person, you might think it is an angel. If you are a scientific person, you might think it is some part of your intuition that is coming from a million little details that your brain is picking up that you don't fully understand, sort of thing. It straddles that line between science and myth, but they do have an interesting in-game effect. You might get a vision, a little precognizant vision at some point or something, and they're all slightly different. So that only comes from almost but not quite dying.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
only possibly. So damage, little overview of the game mechanics in this here. It is the dice pool system, as I have explained before. There are certain bonuses. They will rarely nudge you more than one or two in any direction for you are surrounded by enemies. It is pitch black, things like that can work against you versus advantageous things can give you a little bump in either direction there. But generally speaking, you are rolling your dice pool. You are trying to score at least 1 6. If the roll is not opposed, 1 6 is almost always enough to be successful at something. Once in a while, if something is extremely difficult or supernatural challenge, you might need more than one. But generally speaking, 1 success is going to do the trick for you. So you're just hoping to get a 6 in that pool anywhere. When it is an opposed roll,
they actually have the odds in the book of the number of dice you have. Yeah.
And the odds are pretty good, and they get much better if you push a roll.
Yeah.
So pushing is a mechanic that is available to you. If you roll and you don't like your results, either because you need more 6s for whatever reason, or you did not roll any 6s, you can push. When you push, you re-roll all dice except for the 6s, and you can potentially score new or more successes. When you push, it does cost you. You automatically take a... What are they called? I'm running too many years of games.
Condition.
Yes, you take a condition for pushing. The conditions serve as your health track in a way. You have mental and physical conditions depending on if you are taking mental or physical stress and or damage. When you reach 3 in either of those categories, you become broken. Broken is disabled and very near death usually. When you become broken, you roll for a critical injury. There's a table of critical injuries. They have to make sense. If I roll one that doesn't make sense, I will roll a different one. But they run the gamut from like, oh, really bad laceration, sprained wrist, all the way to like crushed head, die instantly.
Damn, son.
At least that. Let me check if there are any instant deaths in Vaesen. There are in a couple other Year Zero games.
I think
they all
some
have
of the
different
physicals.
charts.
I think some of the physical ones do.
They're timed too, if I remember. They have
within
that, like,
rounds, yeah.
time track.
Yeah.
Yes. Some critical injuries are non-lethal, meaning they suck, they hurt, you are incapacitated still because of the injury. But it is not going to kill you unless you are continued to be beat upon. Some injuries are deadly injuries. They will either kill you instantly if they're the worst, or you will have a certain amount of time with which to receive first aid, or you will die from your injury. That time can be anywhere from several days to rounds, depending on the severity of the injury. So don't get hurt. Nobody here is a doctor.
I was just going to say, we have no healers in this group.
I have 1 point in medicine, but my precision is 2.
Excellent.
Wow.
I'm old and
pretty good
arthritic.
precision, but I do not have the skill.
We used a doctor a lot when we played this at home.
Yeah.
I have really good precision,
our home
actually.
group also fought more than you probably should in
That's
Vaesen, but
true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Sometimes not of our own accord.
fair.
Kent was possessed
It's fair.
a lot in our home
But
game.
it's brutally
I was possessed once.
Once? This one, it was like 3 times.
So can we talk about the fear
Yes,
fear
there is
mechanics in this?
also a fear mechanic, which Kent is more familiar with than me because he has been a victim of it about 1,000 times.
Oh, I guess it wasn't possessed. You were just like paralyzed.
There's a fear mechanic. Encountering certain Vaesens or even just like terrible circumstances, like if you come across a mass grave or something, that is enough to evoke a fear roll.
I thought you said a mass rave. What the fuck?
Hey, in this time period, yes, that would be a fear check. What's this music?
Speaking of, sorry to go back really quickly. When you're taking condition damage, that subtracts from your roll pool.
Yep.
Yes, anything that the condition is they're all different ones.
Yeah.
If it's applicable, like to your physical roll, if it's a physical condition, you will take that penalty on your dice pool. Same thing for the mental conditions.
And it makes a big difference.
The physical critical injuries also have an additional penalty to you. So say you get one of the kindest critical injuries, which is foot injury. It is non-fatal. There is no time limit on it. The defect is limp. Its effect is agility -1. Until your foot injury is healed, you have -1 to your agility score. And they get worse as the injuries become more severe. Right up until potentially getting insights, which are positive. They're fairly powerful, but they're very hard to get.
I only remembered this because I remember rolling with a lot of negatives for fear rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Fear rolls are a factor of the creature's fear rating or the event's fear rating. You roll against it using either logic or empathy. It is up to you how your character tries to justify, make sense of, or deal with the phenomenon you are facing, whether they try to rationalize it or respond in some sort of more empathic way to it. But you roll that ability?
I believe so.
That's true. You get to choose.
Yeah, you get to choose. You roll that ability pool, and you need to meet a certain number of successes equal to the creature's fear rating, I believe. I will double check that before it comes into play. It's relatively hard to pass. That is usually a roll that you will push on. The results of being afeared are fairly severe. You can freak out and start fighting your friends. You can just become catatonic and freeze and not do anything.
Also did that.
And it has a time period of anywhere between 1 and 6 rounds. So if you freeze for 6 rounds, you might be Vaesen Chow. Those are, when you face failure on a fear roll, it is usually worth pushing.
Out of the, I think, 3 fear checks that we had to make in our home game, I failed all 3.
Yep.
You can push yourself to the point of breaking. I don't know if Vaesen specifies that you can't die from pushing until broken in this, but I am going to steal that from Mutant Near Zero. You can't die from breaking, from pushing a roll and breaking from it. But
very helpful.
That means you will do the thing, you make the jump, you land, you have wrecked yourself, you succeeded in the jump, you are broken, you are not going anywhere, but you did make the jump, or like you push so-and-so out of the way of the bullet, or whatever it is, you, with an extraordinary effort, have taken yourself out, but you accomplished the thing with your last breath or burst of effort.
I think once you're broken, it says your character is basically retired.
No, broken is a condition you can gain and lose many times. Broken just means you are now incapacitated for the combat until you either die or are made unbroken with medicine or help or rest or something.
I gotcha. Okay.
But I think you are right. There's like a certain number of, I think, defects or something that you
Yes.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can only get 3. That's what it is.
Before you retire.
I believe the number is 3.
Or go insane, or
Or both.
Volcano Los Dos.
Traumas, right? Are they called traumas? No, I'm thinking of Blades in the Dark now. That's Blades in the Dark. We're thinking of Blades in the Dark. That's
I don't
a
know
mechanic.
what it's called.
We'll figure it out when we get there. It's fine.
I think that's a
Don't worry
different
about
game, guys.
No, I do remember reading it in this. There is something that makes you retire, but I don't remember what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get there.
Yeah, hopefully we won't
And
get
if we
there.
do, we do. Whatever. We'll make a new character.
They become just unprocessable.
Yep.
Yeah.
That could happen, say, if you get a critical mental injury that does not kill you or anything, but you can no longer do this. That is fatal. It's called chronic when it's a mental injury. If you get a chronic mental injury, that means if you do not fix your issue in the amount of time, you can no longer do what you do. You must leave the society. You have become broken in some way permanently.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So that is a little lowdown on how those mechanics work. Are there any other important mechanics that I should mention? You have 2 actions. You have a regular action and a quick action. Essentially,
it's just like a slow action and a quick action, I think they call them.
Yeah, you have like a slow action and a quick action. A slow action is like your standard action. That is, if you are making a skill check, it's usually a slow action. If you are attacking, firing a weapon, something like that. Your quick action is usually moving, interacting with an object, or I think you can defend with either in this one. The fight rules are different in every Year Zero game by Free League I have looked at. So before we get a fight, I will double check that. But you do have to reserve an action to defend against other actions. So if you use up all your actions and you get attacked, you have no more time to defend. You have been doing 2 things. You have been distracted. You're just going to get hit. Right. So there is a little bit of balancing and reserving actions when you think you might need to defend versus when you want to act. 6s in combat and in certain skills are used for extra or additional successes. So you usually only need 1 to succeed. If you get extras, you get to succeed with a bonus or something. And under each skill, it gives you an example. Is there move in this one, or is that only a mutant?
That's a mutant.
That's a mutant.
There's too many Year Zero games. I really started doing this the wrong time, y'all.
There's agility in this game.
Let me find an example. Let's just look at a random skill and tell you.
So ranged combats. By rolling more successes than required, you can increase your damage by 1. You can outmaneuver your enemy exchanging initiative cards. You can stress your enemy. Attack causes mental conditions rather than physical ones. Push the enemy into another zone or a specific part of the zone you are in. Make them drop their weapon or item. Picking it up during combat requires a fast action.
Yeah, so there are extra things you can do in addition to the success, or you can modify your success in some way if you get extra 6s on a lot of skills and actions. Observation, every additional success you get on your observation test gives you a +1 bonus to a test where that information is useful to you in the future. So oh, wow, I got a shit ton of observation on this specific detail. And you're like, oh, I can apply this to this situation. I'm going to get +2 or whatever. So that is how those work.
Do you also want to talk about advantages?
You have the opportunity to get an advantage before each mystery. There is sort of phases to each investigation. In the inciting incident phase, you are usually somewhere near your base, which is the Rose House in this case. You have the opportunity to prepare for the adventure ahead. You describe what you are doing to help you prepare. And then at some point during the mystery, when your preparations suddenly prove useful, you get a +2. You do that once per mystery. And you can describe how you're preparing using any skill that makes sense to you. So that is a +2 on the skill you used to prepare specifically. So if you were practicing fencing because you think you might be going to a place where you're going to need to scrap or something, you will get a +2 on close combat when your fencing skills are relevant during the adventure, et cetera, et cetera. If you were reading up on this particular tome of folk tales and anthropological notes and stuff about the people of this region that you are traveling to, and you're going to use some sort of empathy or something test because your familiarity is going to help you communicate with them, you'll get +2 on that. You have to specify, and you cannot do the same skill twice in a row. So next mystery, you will have to do some other skill, and then you can do the first one again. That is advantages. The castle building minigame involved in Vaesen is a little less important in Mythic Ireland and Britain because, like, kind of Rose House is more put together than Castle Gillenkrutz. But we will engage in a little bit of the minigame building. So between adventures, you'll have an opportunity to sort of develop the Rose House more. Rose House is a completed structure with lots of neighbors and stuff, so it's just kind of making new sections of Rose House that maybe have been off limits to new recruits available to you. And you get to like build different rooms and features and stuff. Or we're like, hey, and
That's pretty cool.
This was
That's
here
very
the
cool.
whole time, and it's just sort of like, oh, there was a butterfly garden here the whole time that we've never mentioned before. But now you're visiting it for the first time because you have bought it in the meta mini building game.
Yeah, in the main,
I love it.
In the main core Vaesen, you're basically building the society from scratch. So you're kind of building the house and adding all of its features.
Yeah, you're like in a dilapidated fucking castle, like repairing it and finding hidden rooms and shit.
As you're growing the society and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep. Yeah. At the end of the session, you get skill points equal to, you answer some questions and you get a skill point for each question you can answer yes to. It costs 5 skill points to purchase an upgrade. That is either a new talent or a new rank in a skill. Pretty simple. I think. Have I missed anything, Jess?
I think that's everything. Kent?
So
there are all
Doc
kinds of special rules for special situations and stuff we will look at as needed. If somebody falls off of a cliff, I will look up falling rules. If somebody drinks poison, I will look up poison rules. If somebody catches on fire, I will look up catching on fire rules.
Yeah, there's like holding and wrestling, fleeing
Yeah.
and chasing, ambush
Yeah.
and sneaking. It's all special contextual rules.
Yeah. I know Doc Void had kind of said, because I had said push an enemy into another zone during combat. There are 3 zones? I think it's close, near, and far along.
There's like, I think there are 4.
I think there are 4.
There are a few zones. There's like 4-ish zones. Distance and movement is abstract in this game. It's meant to be played theater of the mind. So rather than having a certain movement speed and number of feet, you just sort of describe which zone your character is in and which zone you are moving to your target. So if you are in melee range, that's like touch range. And then there's like a few steps away range. And then there's like you're in the same room sort of range. And then there's like you are moving from location A to location B. Significant movement must occur range. Mm-hmm. Your fast action can be used to move 1 zone easily, I think. 2 zones might take your fast and your slow or something like that. There's a formula.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
So if you're like, I'm in the tavern right here. The tavern itself is probably like the medium range. If you want to leave the tavern to go into the yard or somewhere else, that is long range. It's going to take you 2 actions to clear the building and get out there. It's meant to not slow down the game and bog it down with things. You know, you're in the same room with somebody in a fight. The person right next to you is at that touch range. Everybody else is at that close range sort of thing. And that is all that matters really for understanding that. Yeah. Thank you. So I think that is the crunchy info dump here. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns? No. All right, folks, let's rock. Let's do an opening scene or 2. It is June in London.
Yay!
In London. Yeah, it is June in London. Summer in London means different things for different people. For the high class and high society, it means elegant strolls in well-manicured parks, fine perfumes, parties, ball gowns, fine imports. For the have-nots, it means the stinking stench of the Thames and the low gutters sweltering and rotting in the heat. For you fine folks who have recently been recruited into the society, this will be your first summer serving there. Some of you may have been recruited at the end of the summer before, but it's your first June. So what June means to you is full of potential and new possibilities. You are familiar with the Rose House. You've been to several meetings of the society there. Rose House does have guest rooms, but you are all probably usually staying in your own abodes and whatnot. You do meet for the monthly meetings, though, where you meet with your recruiters, other members of the society, visiting members, sometimes even experts and friends of the society come in to consult on things. The Rose House is sort of the central hub of the Apollonian Society, which you are now proud, if quiet, members of. The Apollonian Society is dedicated to investigating all of the mysteries and things that go bump in the night in order to understand and better protect humanity from them. You are the select few. You not only possess the sight, but you have been observed by highly skilled professionals who have seen something in you and deemed you worthy of joining this prestigious order. Up until now, you've shadowed other more senior members of the society. You've joined them or assisted them on various investigations, sometimes with something as simple as research in the library on topics they've requested. At other times, perhaps traveling to some of the nearby counties and things outside of London to look into a mysterious goings-on. You've never led an investigation yourselves, though, nor have you turned up the scent of one. These things have been brought to you, and you've been asked to assist as the more senior members see fit. The Rose House is constantly in and out traffic. There are many members of the society. You're not actually sure how many, but you're still seeing new faces once in a while. Many members don't stay in London long. They spend many months outside of it, so a new face turns up only for you to find out this person has been overseas for 6 months looking into something. So that's not that unusual. So the most common faces you've been seeing are each other. None of you have left London for very long in this past year. You've been sort of in and around the main house. Today is an unusual day. Today is the day of a funeral. One of the members of the society, someone who you know and have met several times, perhaps even assisted with, or have been recruited by, has passed away overseas, and his body was recently returned to his awaiting family here. His name is Arthur Williams. He was a brigadier in the British Army, member of the society, 8, 9, 10 years, and one of the more adventurous souls. He's traveled overseas many times, probably more than anybody else you're familiar with in the society. He has friends all over the world. He was assisting one such friend, Bjorn Christensen in Sweden, on a mission when he was killed. The details about the mission are very hush-hush. You're not sure what he was investigating, just that he was investigating something, and clearly it was dangerous. You're not even sure if his death was related to something supernatural or a freak accident. All you know is that none of you have been permitted to see the body, and it is closed casket. His brother Oswald is distraught, to say the least. And most of the members of the society at this time are actually out on missions. There's only a few that are residing in London and Lowe's house and in the Rose House right now. And they're all attending this funeral. So you've all received invitations to the funeral, whether they were personal or written letters. You have the date, you have the time, you understand the dress requirements. And it is a rainy summer day on the day of Arthur Williams' funeral. And we will open up with your sort of pre-funeral scene. How are you getting ready for this?
I'll go first. Rosalie received the letter. Thank you. She saw the dress requirements, and she kind of sighed because she doesn't have much in the way of other dresses or clothes or anything. Well, she grew up with that, but she doesn't have that stuff anymore. Fortunately, she really likes black. So she has a black dress and a black shawl because that's pretty much what she wears all the time anyway. So she's doing her best to get it clean, at least, which is as much as possible. There's still some little flecks of paint and stuff. So she's very busy getting ready in her studio, which is I would probably say like in the second floor of a tenement down in like the Whitechapel area. It's very cold and drafty in the winter, so she's happy that June is here because she's finally getting to be able to be like a little warm without having to spend money on coal. Her workspace and where she lives is very, very cluttered. There are all sorts of like sketches and drawings of different scandalous and obscene and profane things throughout. So she probably has an easel with a painting that she's been working on set up, and she's kind of like trying to like get around that as she gets her shawl around, and she's making sure that she doesn't have any paint or any clothes or anything like any paint or anything on her clothes. And then she kind of dashes out the door As she dashes out the door, the landlord, Mr. I need a fucking English name, Mr.
Ludwig.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Ludwig.
Okay.
Because you know what? A lot of like foreigners lived in that area of London at that time, so Ludwig could be a guy who lived there.
Ludwig.
What a callback.
Yeah, Ludwig shows up asking for the rent. And she's just like, oh, right, of course. It's yes, well, just a little bit of an issue with the painting, but I'll have it. I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry. I have to go. And she kind of just like brushes past him and escapes him before he can like pin her down as a time she's going to actually pay the rent. And she's just off into the crowded streets of Whitechapel before he can find her.
Oh man, Eleanor is probably having a similar problem. She has sold all of her really nice things. She only has a few like really nice costumes left, and she's looking through her wardrobe. She actually probably lives in a very similar area as like a poor starving artist. Probably on the bottom floor of something, unless those are usually shops. I'm not sure. But
no. Sometimes depends on the place, but doesn't matter. Yeah.
She's just kind of sighing, looking for something kind of plain and drab to wear, kind of her best. She's getting dressed. She feeds her little pet before she heads out. Yeah. Heads that way, nervously.
Cecilia, who actually just does own what's essentially a morning dress. It's a black dress, but it makes enough sense. And she's mostly, that's not a problem. That's clean. She's mostly just making sure she has all her things. She has her bag on her all the time and make sure she's got everything in there. And she makes sure to grab a couple extra handkerchiefs because she's friendly with Oswald, who's Arthur's younger brother, and she knows he's a mess, and so she wants to be able to give him a hanky to kind of help him out. Because poor guy. Make sure her kind of writing stuff is in there, her pencils, all of that, and umbrella period of am I crazy?
Yes, there's certainly umbrellas.
Yes, she would have an umbrella. She pops the umbrella.
A bumba shoot.
And makes her way out of her. She probably lives like on the outskirts of London. It's a small house, but it's a house and it's hers. That starts making her way through the town.
I think Ronaldo is. I guess how many days notice did we have since we received the invitation up until the funeral?
Probably at least a week.
The
body has shipped from overseas, so there.
Right.
It was not a rush job, let us say.
Sure. Okay. So I guess the scene opens and Ronaldo is wearing just some regular trousers and kind of a little bit of a tattered, worn shirt, and it's just completely saturated with sweat. And he is doing some form of heavy manual labor. Maybe he's working a quarry or laying some brick or something of an appropriate nature.
Unloading ships on crates on a dock. Just heavy
okay,
hauling.
Perfect. Yep. Cargo. So it shows him and he's unloading crates at the dock, and he's a tall man. Despite his age, his back is a little hunched, but he stands 6 feet tall, so he was probably taller in his youth. And he seems to be keeping up pretty well with everybody else. He sets down a large, kind of heavy crate, and sets it down and leans on it. And he looks over at June, and she's just sitting there quietly watching him as he's working. And he says, well, I guess that just about does it here. Let's go get our pay and go get that nice jacket.
Right.
For Riley, he probably for the first couple of months in London before he was recruited, he probably stayed at a local thing. Like he came over with very few
at a rooming house or hostel sort of thing.
Hostel and thing. Like he came over with like pretty much what he was wearing, maybe a heavier coat for the time that he came over.
Wow.
So by now he's probably taken up residence in the Rose house.
All right.
So at this time, like being he doesn't have much of extra clothing, he's gonna ask the butler, Mr. Hawkins, there if there's anything that the house could spare for this mournful time.
Yes, certainly, Mr. O'Day. There are several garments that I think might fit your stature. Let me take a look. I'll bring them to your room.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will wait. And I think he's in the time he's going to wait. Like I said, Riley's a bit of a musician and thing. He has a tin whistle that he did bring over with him. So he's probably gonna
tin whistle.
Irish tin whistle. Gorgeous. Love it.
He's gonna play a little slow, mournful song on that while he waits.
Mr. Hawkins is back in 6 minutes. He knows exactly where the items that he was thinking of were. Ellis Hawkins is the butler of Rose House. In your time that you have known him, he has been nothing but polite, efficient, perhaps a little reserved, but he knows every single corner of this house like the back of his hands. He handles all of the paperwork, the correspondence, everything with complete efficiency. He also serves as the Rose House librarian. He knows, you're pretty sure, every book in that library, and it is a substantial library. So he wears many hats in Rose House, and he wears each one very well. He's back in 6 minutes with 3 different suits, all of them in appropriate funeral black. They're all pressed, neat, clean, ready to go. And he hands them over to you, and he says, brings me no joy to say that unfortunately the Rose House does have quite a collection of funeral black, but whichever one you like. And
Thank
he
you.
leads you to it.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. He'll take his time picking out something for the funeral, being that Oswald was the one that brought Riley into the society.
Arthur.
Arthur. Was it Arthur? No, I thought it was Oswald.
Oswald is Arthur's brother.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Oswald brought Cecilia in because Nerd Squad.
Nerd Squad.
He's the fucking history professor.
Yeah,
of course, he's the one that brought Celia in.
Arthur was the one that, Arthur, the man who has passed, brought Riley into the society. So him being his mentor, probably the one who knows knew what Riley was looking for in the first place. The one he probably felt closest to in the society so far.
And even in the short time that you knew Arthur, the few months here that you've since your recruitment and while you were training with him, you felt like you got to know him very well. Arthur wore everything on his sleeve. He's a brigadier in the British Army. He was well loved by his men. You had the occasion to go out, to a few bars drinking with some of his men, and you could tell that there was no loss of affection there between them. He was very outgoing, bold, loud, but not really in an obnoxious way. And despite that kind of outward noise and boldness, he was very astute also. He had an eye for things, and if you were a less astute person, it's easy to miss and think of him as, that typical rowdy soldier type. But he was a smart man, he was clever, and he could read people well. And that's what drew him to you, as a matter of fact. He'd perhaps frequented the same bar you'd frequented at a time, getting your meals on the run, having no kitchen to prepare when you first came to London. And there was something about the look of you that had Arthur sit down next to you at the bar one day and get to talking. He was very easy to talk to. But Arthur could always tell the look of a man who was looking to make amends for something. And over time, you opened up to him a little bit. Arthur, once in a while, had some odd jobs and you needed cash you were able to assist with. And you quickly proved yourself capable to Arthur, and you had seen his own capabilities too. Some of the jobs are strange. Some of the jobs are jobs that, the police won't touch, sort of things. But it was your kind of strange. And sort of without even discussing it in the open, you came to understand that you had similar experiences in some ways. You were looking at the side of the world that sits in the dark, mostly. The side of the world that gets laughed at for superstition here or there. And after a few weeks, these odd jobs getting, more and more frequent here, more and more intense, eventually things happening that if you were a normal person, you would be desperate to explain. But your own experiences led you to believe that you kind of already had part of that explanation, and so did Arthur. He invited you to a meeting at the Rose House. And you came to understand his involvement in the society, the existence of the society, this bright, shiny opportunity that was exactly what you need in this desperate time after searching for tiny, pitiful leads for so long. So you jumped at the chance to join when the hand was offered to you. And from there, the whole world opened up, the library, the stories from the others, the experiences, the encounters, some of which are so wild, so impossible that even you had struggled to believe with your own experiences. But what choice did you have, having seen what you've seen yourself? Through that whole way, Arthur was there for you. He was there to talk, there to reconcile, there to just sit with in the quiet sometimes, knowing without explaining. He had become a friend in this strange metropolitan city, so different from the County Clare that you grew up in. Okay. And those of you who have had perhaps less time with Arthur knew him to be the same. He was who he was at all times, heart on his sleeve. There's something about his simplicity, his purity that you will miss greatly. Okay. And that was the last. So you all arrive by your various means, whether on foot, by cheap rented coach, or perhaps charity from a friend dropping a lift at the cemetery for the funeral. Does anybody arrive late? You all arrive on time, with the due respect deserved.
Arrive a little late. Just
late.
Because this is a society leftover thing with her. She arrives a little late.
We live in a society.
All right, so the cemetery is drizzling. There are black umbrellas open. There's no missing the sight. You can tell by the black umbrellas and the sharp military uniforms. Arthur did not die on active duty. He was on leave and abroad assisting a friend when he came to his unfortunate fate. But he was well respected and had earned several military titles during his time in the British Army, and his men in his army are here for him in this moment. There's a sort of stark divide. You can tell every one of the military boys from the citizens, from the society members who are also in attendance. They stand on different sides of the funeral site, but all of them stand somberly. The military men with a stoic composure, the society members and the few sort of outside friends, hats sweeping softly, looking grim, brows pinched with pain. Oswald is there, Arthur's younger brother. He's standing next to Lorelei, another member of the society. His fists are tightly clenched, trembling a little bit, and it's all he can do to keep his expression straight, to keep the tears from flowing. And Lorelai's standing close, perhaps closer than she usually stands to Oswald, almost protectively. The Countess is also in attendance. She stands with a space around her, a birth of almost deference, a gap there. Her gowns are black, voluminous, wealthy. Those of you who are perhaps more learned in the finer ways of society, dated, though in good shape. They're of a style perhaps a few seasons ago. But she stands regally, chin up, head held high, Countess Alma Harcourt, the sort of unofficial leader of the society from what you have all gathered. There is no leader of the Apollonian Society, but everyone pays deference to Alma, and she is the longest serving member of the Apollonian Society that is alive today. in her 60s. She's very thin, severe cheekbones, sharp nose. Her hair is long and beautiful dove gray. It's plaited up in intricate braids that still shows the care she still puts into her parents. But she is here for Arthur now, though she misses more society meetings than not and doesn't go out on missions any longer. Lorelei Winchester stands next to Oswald in an almost protective stance. She is an American from overseas, was not born here, speaks with that funny accent. She's been a member of the society for about 6 years. She's an heiress from the Winchester family. She came with some money, though not a ton. Most of that is going to end up her sister Daisy's, as her sister is stayed behind in the States to care for their ailing aunt, Sarah Winchester. But she's come here to the Apollonian Society seeking answers about the strange things her aunt has been saying in her age. And she's maybe found a few.
That's cool.
Fuck yeah.
Mm.
And then finally there is Oswald, Arthur's brother. He's smaller than Arthur in every way, both in his personality, presence, form. But Oswald has a sharp mind. Everything. If you've ever struck up a conversation with Oswald about any of his areas of expertise and interest, of which there are many, he lights up. He becomes passionate the same way Arthur does when talking about his adventures, and in those moments, you can see that they are brothers. None of that is here in this moment now. He looks broken inside. They were close. But he is a curator at the British Museum in the Natural History Collection, and he's also a professor at the University of London in archaeology and folklore. He's currently getting into botany quite a lot. Perhaps it was he who picked out the flower arrangements for the funeral today. The final member of the society here is Arthur Williams, the guest of honor. Closed casket with the Union flag draped across in military honors. Sitting there, laid out in the cold, grim-looking ground. The last time he will be here in the land of the living. You see this procession gathered as you arrive, Rosalie. Quick stepping there. They haven't started speaking yet, but everybody is in places, and the soldiers have sort of lined up, assumed the proper form for the military honors that they are about to bestow upon Arthur. So they perhaps delay a second or two longer as they see you hurrying to the funeral site before they get started.
I didn't want to be noticed that much, but I'm unhappy about that. So I just kind of sidle in and as far away from Riley as possible. Maybe I see Cecilia and just kind of settle in with her. Oh, hi dear.
Yeah, she'll move her umbrella over so that Rosalie is also a little protected from the rain.
Thank you. Yeah, she's wet. She did not. She just had a shawl. Yeah, and she walked here because she has no money. So
we got them good cabs, though. Yes, we do. Yes, we fucking do.
Cardiovascular systems too.
In that this crowd seems to be less interested in judging you or watching your late arrival than perhaps the crowds that your family runs with. Rosalie. They seem much more focused on each other or the coffin. A little more forgiving, perhaps. But the military honors are conducted. He gets the whole thing, the flag, the guns, the reverse rifle thing that they do in the UK. Forgive me, I am not super familiar with the British
as you are, buddy. Yes, sir, buddy.
That's the Canadian military.
Honors, yeah.
Oh no!
But it is conducted with precision and clip, and the soldiers pay their respects one by one. The flag is bestowed upon Oswald, his nearest living relative, and Oz takes the flag and he just holds it kind of limply by his side after nodding his respects, and the military departs after that. Arthur's sort of civilian friends, his outside life, outside of his two private circles that he ran with, stay a little bit longer. Some of them say a few words about Arthur, about how they met, about what he meant to them. Some of them approach other members of the society, offer their condolences. They all offer their condolences to Oswald. Before one by one they depart as well. And then you're left here with your the Apollonian Society standing here, Arthur's first or second great love, depending on where you would place his priorities in the world. But you stand here all dressed in various blacks, looking at the fresh turned earth. There was no priest officiating at Arthur's funeral. He didn't want one. The military honors, the words of his loved ones and his friends, that was enough to send him off. And you linger here, you who are perhaps more familiar with death and its mysteries than some. If there's anything anybody would like to say. Right now, you're just sitting in that perfect moment of quiet.
We'll offer her condolences to Oswald. She'll walk over to him. And then, Cecilia, did you offer your condolences?
We spoke earlier.
Oh, okay, well, I'm going. And she just walks over and, hand out. He takes his hand and, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it takes him a moment to notice your hand. He's, Oswald has an astute and sharp mind, and he seems very much somewhere else in this moment.
Understandable.
But when he catches it, he takes your hand and he, thank you. I suppose it seems like he's not really gone yet. Expecting him to arrive late to his own party at any moment with a story about something that caught him up.
I know. Well,
so easy to imagine he's just away investigating something or on a mission.
Well, in a way, he is investigating something, isn't he?
Perhaps. Oswald kind of looks around, lost for a moment, and he says, there's no need to wait up on my behalf.
Right, of course. Well, I just wanted to express my condolences, so I will leave you to it.
Appreciate it.
If there's anything you need, let me know.
He just sort of nods politely.
Drawing of boobs.
Drawing of boobs. You feel a drawing of boobs when
here she just sketches on a napkin. Here you go.
God, we're getting all the Good Society flashbacks in this game.
No, Rosalie can actually draw, though.
Robert, bro.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Right.
That meme. How do you feel about nudity? The artist is naked. Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Lady Harcourt sort of clears her throat quietly, and everybody looks toward her sort of right away. And she says, well, everybody is here now. I think it would be best for us all together at Rose House this evening. We can share a few drinks, a few stories in Arthur's memory, as is deserved. And there's a bit of business we have to discuss. And she kind of glances at Oswald when she says that, and his mouth tightens a little bit. Lorelai also shares that look. She seems to know whatever is going on as well.
I was just going to say, I'm going to look around to see who knows, what it is she's referring to, but it seems like just those two.
Yep, seems like all of the senior members here, of which there are 3. Now that Arthur is no longer with you.
It's not too often that Robert holds on to June's collar. He usually, Ronaldo. Got boobies on the brain.
Whatever my name is.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. It's not too often that Ronaldo holds on to June's collar, but during the ceremony he was holding on to the collar. And Riley is someone who's such an astute observer. You probably got the general air that he was Ronaldo was very conflicted. His if you looked at his knuckles, they were, white, gripping that collar, especially as the guns were going off during the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ronaldo has been kind of, for the most part, motionless, hasn't said anything throughout the whole ceremony. And he's going to walk over to the flowers that were arranged for the funeral. Are any of them, does he identify any of them from being from a foreign land, somewhere not native to England? Perhaps a place he's familiar with?
No, I don't think so. They're an assortment of lilies.
Gotcha. He he mutters a few words softly under his breath as he looks towards the grave, and then him and June will take their leave.
June lingers a moment. You kind of start to head, and you're so used to her just following your movements without even needing to put any pressure on her collar or anything else. But you go to leave, and she doesn't move with you right away. You give her a little tug, and she sits a little longer. She stares at the head marker, like she sees something there, for a few moments longer than normal.
I'll wait. I don't rush her.
And then she rises and at your heels follows you.
Do I see anything on the head marker of note? When she does that, maybe I'll make a roll if it's appropriate, but.
Just Arthur's name, date of birth. The design at the top of the head marker is the sigil of the Apollonian Society, but other than that,
gotcha.
Nothing more.
Sounds good.
Countess Harcourt approaches the grave. She clasps her hands and bows her head for a few moments in silence. What she's saying to Arthur now in this moment, you could only guess. And then she takes her leave as well. Before she goes, she says, 6 o'clock. And then she leaves to her waiting carriage.
You used to have one of those.
It's pulled by 2 beautiful horses, by the way. Beautiful black horses.
God, even her carriage is funeral themed. She's got money.
She does. She has money. She has money. She has a name. She's the last one who will have it. No one else in Lady Harcourt's line yet lives. She is a dowager countess, and when she dies, the Harcourt line will die with her.
What time is it now? What time of the day?
It's probably 3 o'clock. You've got a good 3 hours.
So we got some time.
Go about, do things, prepare, spend time alone if you want. Lorelai sort of leans in. Oz says something that just sort of shakes his head a little bit, and then Lorelai leaves his side for the first time during the funeral, and she's like, all right, well, there's things to be done before the meeting and the dinner tonight. Let's get to it. And it is clear to you that she's like, let's give Oz some time and space. And she sort of sweeps you up under her wings, her American eagle wings, away from the grave.
To the wide arms of patriotism.
And she walks with you toward the cemetery gates.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to discuss this a little more at dinner, but no point in leaving you all in suspense and wondering. Oz and I are going to be leaving to Sweden. And well, there's a mission for you. And I think you're ready. And she looks at you, Eleanor, when she says this. All of the other members are out right now, so nothing like a trial by fire. But
boost.
By fire.
Or ice. Details at dinner tonight. It'll be fine. This is the worst of it, I'm sure.
Are the 2 of you going to be joining Mr. Christensen, where Arthur? All right.
Yes. It is ambiguous as to the naturalness of Arthur's death. And well, there's nothing for grieving like the truth.
They'll set you free.
She sort of inclines her head toward you in agreement.
I'll kill you, she says under her breath.
Some would say those are the same thing.
True.
Well,
some would say if the truth should kill you, then you deserve to die.
Well, she smiles a little at that.
You see,
can also have a little bit of gallows humor.
Yeah.
You see Cecilia's hand reach for her bag, and then probably remembers that it's raining and pulls her hand back, just like, nope, don't rain in the rain, don't rain in the rain, don't rain in the rain.
She's
that
like,
was cool, but save it for
that's
later.
a good line. That's a good line.
Like, oh, that was really cool.
Remember it.
Shit, it's raining.
Rosalie sees that and goes, "Don't worry, darling. I'll just tell you later."
Thank you.
Well, I'm grateful to have your trust. I'm sure we'll be fine.
So are all of us going? She side-eyes Riley as she says that.
Oh yes, Lady Harcourt will be Lady Harcourt will take note of anyone who is not there, and she will be displeased.
No. I mean on the mission is what I mean.
I think so.
So again, all hands on deck. All right.
5 new recruits. Got to be worth the weight of 1.5 seniors.
Your confidence is truly overwhelming.
I try. I will see you there. And she kind of just lengthens her stride a bit and heads off in her own direction.
Well, that leaves us with some time.
Well, if anyone is in need of a quiet place with a fire, my cottage door will be open to the lot of you.
Sounds wonderful. I'll come with you.
She knew exactly what the answer was going to be for Rosalie.
All us fucking poor motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Warmth and shelter? Yes, please.
Do you have tea?
It's like, does your house not leak?
Yeah, so she will walk back, leading anyone who wants to join her for tea and a fireplace.
Riley will politely decline, and he'll say he'll meet everyone back at the Rose House in a few hours or sooner if people show up.
He's like, I live there right now.
Yeah.
Nora will politely she'll take that note too, and she'll politely decline as well, but I will see you all there. Safe travels. They trust us. Let's prove them right.
Ronaldo went for a walk, so he's not there.
Yes.
That's right. He and June left.
Walking the streets of London.
In the rain.
Ronaldo finds a quiet place to sit for a little while with June, and he takes out his butterfly necklace and he holds it in his hands and closes his eyes for a long while.
Anybody have any preparations or anything specific they wanted to do before the evening, or shall we skip ahead to it? All right, you all arrive at the Rose House, assumedly in time to be on time for dinner, perhaps a little bit early. There's, chatting and discussions and niceties that happen before these sorts of things. But the Rose House is a 2-story building. Hold on.
Yeah, I think it is.
Sure, why not? Who's gonna stop us?
Who's gonna stop us from making it a 2-story building?
How big was the society that was at the funeral? There were the 3 kind of head members and
you guys,
but was there a couple others or?
Nope. You're the only society members that were in attendance. Everybody else is out right now.
I see. That's right. You did say this. Okay.
They were out engaged with things or too far to make the funeral.
I see. So we are holding down the fort basically while they go overseas. Okay.
You are holding down the fort.
Everyone's been here less than a year. Is this my work?
Yeah, this is surprise. The society is just a low budget fire station.
Hey now.
Me when I realize I'm one of the most senior members of my job on the office at one time.
Oh boy.
Rose House is a 3-story stone building at Aldermanbury, not far from London Wall. It has a kind of gated courtyard that you pull into. Half of the ground level is occupied by the coach house and stables, which are entered from the street through the arched double gate. The rest of the floor consists of kitchens and storerooms with a small cellar for wine and perishables, and Hawkins's office and small bedroom are also on that ground floor there. The stairs lead up to the first floor where the main activity of the house takes place. That's where the central lounge, which is furnished with sofas and armchairs, it leads to. There's doors to the library on that side there, and the small museum on the other. The dining room and eating facilities are there as well. The top floor is mostly devoted to bedrooms, which are made available to visiting members and or itinerant members. And it's called Rose House because of the beautiful round rose stained glass window that is centered above the door. The light shines in to the second floor lounge area that the stairs emerge into. It's a very old building. It burnt to the ground.
Fire. It was a great fire. Yep.
Yeah, burnt to the ground in 1666 and was rebuilt a couple years later.
Wow,
in the
what a
Great
year.
Fire.
6 had a significance.
Talking about the Rose House and the Great Fire that it survived, members like Oswald or Lorelei, when they have a drink or two in them, are happy to go off on history and whatnot. We've mentioned, that the very strange thing about the burning of the Rose House was everything burnt to the ground except for the library. Rumor has it, not a single book was harmed in the fire. Was not there to observe it myself. Usually these things are, sort of exaggerated, but still interesting bit of history. But you all arrive one by one at Rose House. Hawkins is there to take your coats away to the little coat closet, hang them up where they will dry in a way that does not damage the floors or leave unsightly puddles. Efficiency. And then lets you all know that the others are waiting in the lounge.
Okay.
You head up to the lounge. You can smell the food that is being prepared. Smells like quite a spread from the scent of it. Those of you who have lived perhaps hungrier lives get a little bit of a rumble there at that. But, must not be too eager for the dinner here. We are grieving. And grief and perhaps an empty stomach are complimentary. But in the lounge right now, Lorelei and Oswald are there. The Countess is not arrived yet. But there are an assortment of tea has been served. There's various teas available. There's some brandy, a couple just little snacky things. But Oswald and Lorelei are lounging different couches, chairs, just very quietly nursing a cup of tea for Oswald and a little snifter of brandy for Lorelei. When the first of you come in, Lorelei's like, "Hi."
Hello.
Gentlemanly
Hello.
type of thing.
Have a seat. Nothing impolite about a little bit of brandy before a dinner. A dinner after such an fucking shitty day.
When do you both set to leave?
Oswald says 3 days. 3 days. Don't want to give any leads more time than we have to run cold.
Have you heard anything yet?
No. Christensen's letter was infuriatingly vague. Don't know if he worried he'd been being watched or if he just couldn't speak of it. But we'll figure it out when we get there.
We'll take care of things here while you're gone.
I know. It's a grim evening. But you're welcome to chat a little bit, mingle, while awaiting that dinner bell and the arrival of the Dowager.
Hello. I come over to June and Ronaldo.
Oh, yes. Please, we're just
holds out her hand
warming
to
ourselves
June.
by the fire.
Yes, it's a little cold for a June. Not the dog, but the month itself.
No, being in the rain doesn't help.
But June is warm and warm-hearted, isn't she? And he gives her a big scratch and scritches behind her ear.
She always seems to enjoy your company, Rosalie.
Yeah, I'm glad someone does.
As do I.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's a good
girl. All three of us look at Riley and growl.
Things have been well for you, Ronaldo?
As well as one can hope.
Well, if you find yourself in want of shelter or food, you know where I live. Can't offer you much, but I will share what I have.
Fortunately for me, my situation's improved dramatically since coming here.
I am happy to hear that.
Are you staying in the guest rooms at Rose House, or do you have a small apartment or somewhere else that you stay now?
So I definitely don't have a place of my own. I think Ronaldo, I think it's about 50-50. Half the time Ronaldo doesn't stay there and you're not sure where he is. If ever it's crummy weather, he absolutely stays in either one of the guest rooms, or he crashes on the couch in the living room or something. He's an old man, so he does one of those like old man sleep things where he just kind of nods off for a couple hours in a chair and then he's like good to go. But inclement weather, he stays here. Inclement weather, he stays here. When it's nice out, he's usually not around.
Arthur had in the past invited you to stay at his place whenever you wanted to, open door. And when Arthur was away on missions or with a military deployment, he welcomed you to make use of his apartment. Very small, kind of sparse. Arthur traveled too much to accumulate a lot of stuff, but that was an offer he had made to you.
I think something I took Arthur up on was a shave when I first came to the house.
All right.
The military haircut from the military guy.
Get you cleaned up, looking sharp.
Yep. That's something he did for me.
Treated you like a person. I am looking for a letter. At this point, the Dowager makes her appearance up the stairs into the parlor, unannounced. This place is like a home. In the Rose House, she's able to put down some of the formalities of her station among her fellow society members. But she walks in and she's like, I hope the weather didn't treat anyone too poorly getting here. I see everyone is here. Let's talk over food.
Splendid idea.
And she leads the way to the dining room. At the dining room, Hawkins is assisting Mrs. Morley, the cook and housekeeper who visits every day. She lives a couple houses down from Rose House with her family. Comes in every day, prepares food, helps with the cleaning and whatnot. She and Hawkins are working together now to set the sort of baseboard with different foods. Sort of a buffet style type thing. Grab your plates, get some foods, and then have a seat.
Is there any food for June? A big old ham bone or something?
You are welcome to feed June on a plate from whatever is offered at dinners. Nobody will balk at that.
Okay.
June's basically a member of the society.
Yeah, there is probably a designated June bowl that has been put into service for her.
Are there any other animals of the house?
There is a cat, but other than that, the cat comes and go as it pleases. It is sort of an indoor-outdoor cat. Hangs out in the stable sometimes, comes in when it pleases, leaves when it pleases.
Of course there's a cat. It's actually the ruler of this house.
The cat dominates.
It's an ancient dragon of immense power.
Hold on, can I summon her? She summoned herself! Oh, look who just zoomed on into the room. The house cat.
Look, she's even all black like June.
Black as night, I know.
Little baby.
Huh.
So cute.
You spooky?
Has June ever had any interactions with the cat of the house?
The cat, is fairly at ease with June. Doesn't pay her much notice, and June is also is a fairly calm dog and stuff. You may have walked in on the cat using June like a piece of furniture once or twice, but other than that, they don't really roughhouse or chase each other or anything.
That's hilarious.
Dude, okay. Damn, that's wild. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah. I think I'll probably I'll wait till everyone else gets their food. And then I'll grab a plate for June and myself, and we'll kind of we'll like share a plate, but not like we're not like eating off of the same plate, but like I'm giving
You're not
her
gonna
bits of
lady in the
food from my
tramway
plate.
with your dog.
Yeah, right.
She just puts her paws on the table and she's like face and plate, and you're like face and plate, and that's how you're doing it.
Yes.
Right.
Perfect.
Once everybody is served and situated, glasses are filled. Mrs. Morley and Hawkins retire to a different room together. They fix themselves plates and they go off to eat them elsewhere and leave you to discuss your business.
Oh man.
What the hell does, bro?
Oh,
That's
man.
a shame. That makes me sad.
This is also like
classist society.
This is big time Victorian
It's not
England,
so much
man.
a classist thing as in so Hawkins knows about society business. He knows everything. And when Mrs. Morley is not in attendance, Hawkins will attend meetings, even if he doesn't contribute much. He like listens.
So he's more keeping her company.
Yes, exactly. Mrs. Morley is not a member of the society. She is hired, paid good wages, but he is not going to send her into a room alone. He is going to have dinner with Mrs. Morley.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So food is served. People begin to eat. Oswald doesn't start eating. Oswald kind of stares at his plate for a few moments, takes a drink or two, and then before eating anything, he just sort of he says, as Lorelai mentioned to you all, we're going to be leaving in 3 days' time to go to Sweden and join Arthur's friend Bjorn Christensen in the mystery Arthur was looking into, to see if we can lend aid to Bjorn and find out what went wrong. I know it's not a lot of notice, and society members are a little lean around here right now, but you've all done well. And were I to be able to be in 2 places at once, I would not ask this of you, but I can't think of anything but my brother right now, so he pulls a letter out of a pocket and unfolds it. Received a letter from a former colleague of mine at Cambridge asking for some help. We'd corresponded on archaeology and folklore many times in the past. And I would attend this myself immediately without hesitation, but Sweden calls. So I'm going to write you a letter of introduction to Edgar Longby. He's the curate of the parish in Brancombe. I will find that in a minute. But he's he said some interesting things. I'll read it to you now, and it sounds like they need help. I have to find the so
what is that he's a curator of a parish, you said?
Curate.
What is a curate?
Curator. He is a holy man of some kind.
Smells like a Church of England sort of thing.
He's like a. Let me look at the difference between curate and pastor.
I'll look it up. You look at the other thing. I'll look it up.
He does church stuff at the church.
He's essentially a priest assistant, specifically defined as person who is invested with the care of souls in a parish. I'm going to say kind of like a deacon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, deacony.
Yeah, so so it looks like it's depending on, I'm looking at, this is pulling up from the Anglican Church, it's kind of a step between a deacon and a vicar. So like you're under a priest, but you're above a deacon.
Vicars actually took care of like the building and stuff, from what I understand, right? Like they were the real priests, right?
Yes, it was.
Like
okay, I remembered it.
I didn't look up that far.
Don't worry about it. It's not like. Never mind. It's not that important.
They're Catholicing.
We're Catholicing again.
We are. Damn it. We never stop.
Yes,
they're
Catholicing.
There's a lot of Catholicing in this game.
You can take the kids out of Catholic school, but you can't take the Catholic school out of the kids.
Try as you might, you cannot expunge it.
Oswald unfolds the letter and just reads to you. My dear friend, I fear I've been remiss in failing to keep up our acquaintance. The correspondence of our student days was most enlightening for me, and I dare hope that you found some diversion in it as well. I still dabble in local archaeology and folklore, and have read a little in the London newspapers about your recent discoveries in your own country. That should be counted because you're in the same country.
County.
I wish I were writing now to renew our acquaintance and to propose further exchanges on such fascinating matters, but I have another purpose. Certain troubling events around the village where I serve as a curate of the church reminded me of our discussions concerning the legends surrounding standing stones and their connection to folklore and the tales of witches, hags, and other troll folk. More than that, a young woman is dead, horribly murdered, and her former suitor is in danger of hanging for the crime. Since the unfortunate girl's body was found, our village has been in the grip of winter. Frosts as bitter as those of February blight the flowers of June, and some creature, perhaps a wolf, though none has been seen in these parts for 4 centuries at least, has been driven by the cold to prey on farmers' livestock. Other strange occurrences have added to the woes of the local people, and there is talk of a curse. In our student days, you hinted at some knowledge, some resource that you could bring to bear in unraveling mysteries of this nature. If you do indeed have it in your power to investigate our situation and bring the truth to light, then I beg you to do me the honor of visiting. My home is humble, but it is at your disposal. I await your reply eagerly and hope for the pleasure of renewing our acquaintance in person. Sincerely yours, Edgar Longby, M.A., curate of the parish of St. Biran, Brancombe. I don't know what NR is an abbreviation for. Ansbury, GLOS, which is another. These are addresses.
I presume NR is north.
Yeah, and NR north.
It's not
North
really.
Annonsbury.
What is the name of the
Gloucester?
parish?
I don't know. It is the parish of St. Biran.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire. Yeah, I'm like Gloucester. Gloucestershire.
And what's the name of the town?
To Worcestershire.
What is the name of the town, Amber?
Brancombe. And then he lowers the letter, and if anybody looks interested, he will hand the letter off to whoever's like, oh, can I look at it?
Riley will take the letter to Bert to look over.
I'll also take a peek when you're done, Riley.
Yep.
And there is a PDF of that letter with the neat handwriting and everything that is unintelligible to me without the translated text.
I was like, how are you reading
it's
this
hard to
so
read.
fast?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
He's got a practiced hand.
Perfectly OCR'd though, because I was able to copy and paste NR Annesburg GLOS into Google, and it perfectly OCR'd it, and I was very pleased.
Oh, nice. I also can put in the text copied from the book in regular print for y'all's.
Yes.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
never mind.
Ken is like, I would like to know what this says.
Yeah, Chris Wentz says it's near. NR is near.
Oh, near. See, learning something every
near
day.
Annesburg and Gloucestershire.
Yes, Annonsbury is the largest town that is anywhere near Brancombe, which is a village. Oswald says, during our days at Cambridge, I found Edgar to be of keen mind and questioning disposition in nature. I'm actually a little surprised he went into religion in some ways, but it seems he has not lost intellectual curiosity. He was a good man. And it sounds like the people of Brancombe need our help. And he kind of looks between you all. Will you rise to the challenge?
Of course, that's what we're here for.
Thank you. I'll take it as a personal favor to me right now.
Now, going through the letter, they said that Edgar had said that they were experiencing a winter.
Yes.
Is that in the warmer months?
Yes, in the middle of June.
That's
it's supposed to be flowers and pastures and lambs and stuff, and it is frost and withering plants and blighted crops. Just bizarrely unseasonably cold weather.
And this is just in their town or their village?
Localized to their village and the nearby outlying farmlands. Yep.
Holy shit.
Lorelai says, I know we're leaving quickly, but we have 3 days. If there's anything we can do to help prepare you for this, we are your resources.
I think I should like to.
Me, Oz has, I'm sure, a lot. Oz is like, I can still help.
I think I should like to take a look in the library and learn about any legends of the town.
Yes, of course. That's a great place to start, Lorelai says. And Oz says, I can get you a list of titles that we had discussed, Edgar and I. I'm sure I can recall most of them. I'll get that to you, and Hawkins can pull them.
Thank you.
Anything similarly in the library vein, anything on standing stones?
Yes, there are several tomes on standing stones in the library, if I recall, and I do remember the standing stone in particular outside of Grandcombe. There's a folkloric legend, somewhat religious legend, somewhat kind of folklorish fancy about Saint Biron, the saint of their local parish, having turned a creature into the stone. It was quite a few years ago that we discussed this, but I do remember that much at least. I'll look into more details.
Yeah, certainly something I'd like to look into.
But thank you. And then he sort of looks at his food like he doesn't want it to be there.
Eat just a little, even just some bread. Settle your stomach.
He grabs a roll and he will like sort of pick at it. Lorelai.
As like people aren't noticing, Rosalie's been sneaking extra rolls like into the folds of her clothing. Just kind of like
pocket bacon.
Yeah, exactly.
Pocket bacon. God damn.
Sneaking some beef jerky.
Yeah.
So good.
Right, Riley, I think Ronaldo's gonna ask if he can take a peek at the letter when you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. He would hand it off to.
Let me get this thing in regular print for y'all.
He would hand it off.
So Ronaldo, really what Ronaldo's looking at is he's just looking at the handwriting. And he's just kind of trying to commit to memory what it looks like.
Easy enough. The handwriting is it's clearly somebody who has been has had quite a lot of education. This is somebody who was taught probably by nuns.
Yep,
to perfect their handwriting, to perfect their handwriting.
Yeah. I'll also pass the note down to June and just offer if she wants to sniff the note. And I'm gonna say, does it smell like curses to you, girl?
She gives it like a cursory sniff like dogs do when you hold out any object to them, and no other reaction beyond that.
I just kind of pet her on the head and I give you the note back.
Right. Nope, not new folder. New file. There we go.
Nora's mostly kind of quiet and not eating as well. She's mostly just got anxious, nervous energy vibing off of her.
Cecilia looks the exact opposite. She is jazzed. I mean, she's sad because friend died. But the idea of, you're going on a thing, she's jazzed. She's jazzed.
Thing, Lorelai, this girl was obviously there's a murder. Surely there were newspaper accounts.
Brandcombe is a bit out of the way. There's a lot of news happening in London, so nothing in any of the local papers. But I'm sure once you get to Annonsbury, it likely would have been mentioned in that paper. Don't think we can acquire one before we leave, though.
That's fair.
You may pick one up on your way.
I'm sure it's all they're talking about there, having grown up in, more remote places.
Yes, and I'm sure there's much more in the local tap houses than even in the papers. So,
right.
Size of demeanor, I'm sure I can find out some information there.
You've already got a nose for it. So, business aside, I want to tell you something that Arthur said to me before he left on his last trip. And Lorelai kind of sits back and she gets a little smile as she recalls like this fond moment, and she shares a story about having gone out drinking with Arthur. She's like, and she kind of brags a little bit. She's like, she's proud, like I'm the only member of the society that can keep up with Arthur drinking, okay? And like now you noobs are gonna have to try to keep up with me. So I'm gonna carry that torch for him. Brace yourselves. But it's a funny little anecdotal story that really captures a bit about Arthur's personality and the sort of good-naturedness of his humor, even when there's a little bit of shenanigans involved. And she invites other folks at the table to do the same. The Dowager also shares kind of more serious story about Arthur. Arthur comforting her after a sort of a hard mission, a hard loss of a society member several years before.
I'll share the story about Arthur giving me a shave, proper military shave. And I'll look at the rest of the group and I'll say it's not too often that a man of my age and my status feels seen. And in that moment, he was very, very genuine, very kind. The world is certainly a dimmer place without his spirit.
Oz kind of looks down for a moment and then raises his glass after you say that, and he says, Arthur never looked away. He takes a drink.
With my tea.
Rosalie's absolutely drinking the brandy.
Lorelai's drinking the brandy too. She's like watching you drink that brandy, like pours herself another glass.
Does anyone else have a story?
There was a time when he bought a painting of mine. And well, my artwork, as it is an acquired taste. And I know it wasn't quite Arthur's taste. And
Lorelai goes, Arthur likes boobies.
She laughs. She goes, no, this one.
That even gets like a little snort out of us.
He didn't. This one actually didn't even have any of that. But he did it because he knew that they needed the money. And well, he also knew I was too proud to take the charity. So he was a kind soul and charitable.
Ronaldo, that painting is the only piece of art Arthur has in his room.
The one from Rosalie?
And I'm going to say it's a picture of it's a field with a sun overlooking the field, and there are children playing in the field, like little, like chubby naked children, like cherubic children, and the sun, though, it's like a very stylized sun with like lots of flames kind of around it and almost like a weird pattern, and there's still something sinister about the sun, almost as if it's like an eye watching the children.
You think I have fucking Sauron watching these children?
Yeah. That obvious, but watching, like
but
there's
like burning.
There's something weird about the sun. It's like it would be a nice scene, but the sun
like
is very
off-putting. The halo is
off-putting.
around it, like an iris sort of thing, and
Yeah.
I can see it in my mind. Arthur was the first person to ask me to do a magic trick for him in the house, and he applauded anyways, even when I got it wrong. Yeah. He applauded every time, really.
Riley is going to share. It's like the time that he met. I keep wanting to call him Oz, but it's
Arthur. Yeah, Art and Oz.
Yeah. But it was sat with me at the inn I was frequenting, and the all of you know I've been looking for something, but he gave me something that he let me find something that I wasn't looking for here. It's a very dear friend that I would have loved to host back home.
Another toast to Arthur. But sharing stories about Arthur, you work your way through the meal into the later evening hours. Oz kind of excuses himself after the dinner and heads off into the other rooms beyond. Lorelai is like, Arthur loved drunk shooting. Let's go shoot some shit in the basement.
Shooting in the basement.
Yes, there's a little basement room that can be set up with some targets. It is underground. You can shoot in the basement. It's loud.
Ricochet, perfect. Yeah, definitely.
Rosalie has had enough brandy to think that's a fantastic idea.
I'll sit this one out, boys.
She's like, absolutely, you goddamn American.
I'm almost as good a drinker as Arthur, and he is almost as good a shooter as me, so this is right. If anybody wants to be dumb in the basement like Arthur and me, Lorelai is there for it, honoring his spirit. But the evening winds to a close with many a laugh, and perhaps a close call where those of you who are more sober are like, okay, that's probably the end of this.
I didn't get to be this old without a shred of wisdom.
Cecilia does not go down there, but every now and again she hears like a particularly loud bang and then just a bunch of she's like, oh no.
My precision is really high, although I have no firearm skills, so it's just a decent natural shot, actually.
I was going to say, I'll fire one shot too. I'll fire one shot for Arthur, and that's...
Watch as I make this disappear into Rosalie's leg.
One shot for Arthur. All right. Lorelai is there to give tips to anybody who wants them, help you with some aiming and stuff. You're a little drunk right now, but if any of you wanted to practice shooting as an advantage for this upcoming adventure, you may. This is an opportunity to do so with Lorelai. You can also save your advantage for something else.
Yeah, I'm gonna save mine for something else.
Too drunk.
Yeah,
Too drunk, can't learn.
I'm just like bang bang.
I think Ronaldo is going to help clean up the dinner. He's going to help the butler and the housekeeper.
Mr. Hawkins actually has Mrs. Morley go home to be with her family after having some food and stuff. He was gonna handle the cleanup by himself. So it's you and Hawkins cleaning up in the.
Okay, I think I'll ask Ellis if he has any stories of Arthur.
I'm on the spot with these fucking stories. Hang on, let me think of a good story here. So, I do. Mr. Williams liked to style himself a handyman, sort of jack of all trades, master of none type thing. Certainly was not a master of roofing, but that did not stop him from trying to help when we sprung a leak about 4 years ago. And the unique thing about this story that sets it a little apart here is Arthur had been shot in the leg just a few weeks before. So he climbed that ladder and set to working on the roof. The leak was much, much larger after he finished patching it. But trying to coax him down off that ladder and convince him that it was a terrible idea was probably the hardest I'd laughed in maybe 3 years. And you couldn't talk that man down from helping. Not from anything. The world is poorer for his loss.
Just kind of nod.
You're going to do great. You're ready.
I can honestly say I don't think I've been this way before. And if nothing else, that's something to be excited for.
Person
Many more
needs
roads.
purpose. Something Arthur used to say a lot too.
Absolutely.
He helps you go through and do dishes, set them aside. And the evening, through gunshots and dishwashing, draws to a close. Those of you who have, if you have imbibed too much, you're welcome to stay in one of the guest rooms. Hawkins already has strangely the exact right number of guest rooms prepared for the sudden overnight guests. And everybody else, the Dowager will get a cab, orders a cab for you to take you home or wherever you need to.
Very kind.
To go.
Is Arthur's home separate from this place?
Yes, Arthur has an apartment that he sort of rents year round. It's just a one-room sort of apartment thing with like a shared kind of bathroom and stuff. It's clean. It's bare minimum, but it's not like in a shady or unsecure part of the city.
Right. I think I would probably ask Oz if I can find him. If he would, I would ask him as politely as I can if it would be acceptable for me to maybe just like, freshen up, shave one last time before we head off on our trip. For old time's sake.
Oh, you find Oz in the library. He's at a desk, kind of like holding his head, flipping through some books. He's already looking, and you can see he's already started that list that he said he would get to Rosalie and the rest of you. He's just thrown himself right into work. When you come in and ask, his expression softens a little bit, actually. He says, I was meaning to talk to you about the same thing. Arthur's paid through the rest of the year, and please, if you have need or use of his room, any of his effects, he'd want you to.
Your brother was a better man than many.
The thought that he's still being helpful even after he's gone is a comfort to me.
I just put my hand on Oz's shoulder.
He puts his hand over yours for a moment, and you can tell, like, there's some tears there, but he, like, kind of composes himself for a moment. Thank you.
I'll take my leave when, appropriate. Not right away, and then I'll head over there and I'll freshen up, spend the night there.
Right, and the Dowager will get you a cab for that too, unless you wanted to walk.
Gotcha.
All right, folks. You find your various beds and rests, peaceful or fitful, perhaps touched with dreams of a loud and boisterous laugh, half remembered by morning, but will long be before it is forgotten. And the next day when the sun rises, you have work to do. We will pick up again in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Good job.
Thanks, everybody.
New little assholes to ruin the lives and emotions of.
We're helping. Explosions in the background.
Fuck up this small town. We're helping. It's what Arthur would want.
We learned how to shoot when we were drunk.
We fucked up a small town before, and we'll do it again. God damn it.
God damn it.
Town's cold. It needs fire.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Rosaline's like, I brought bread rolls.
Oh boy.
You just pack your suitcase full of rolls instead of clothes
that's all she
and
has
go off
is
on
bread.
the trip.
She has no clothes. She just has bread. I'm poor. I have art and bread. Okay.
Her one outfit she brings is just an outfit made of bread.
It's like Lady Gaga's meat dress, but it's
I was
bread.
just gonna say it's the meat dress, yeah. Incredible.
Did Lady Gaga wear a dress made of meat?
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Google it. Yeah.
It's
long
famous,
time
dude.
ago.
I think that was her. I think that was her first like.
She was just getting
Might
like
have been.
that
It
was
was a
her
major
first
awards
thing.
show.
Like
Yes.
it's made of raw meat. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep, it was really cool
Holy
actually.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look it up. It's
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure that was when at least I was in middle school, maybe 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were young.
Wow, an actual raw meat dress.
Badass.
What the fuck?
Oh God! All right.
Ida probably had heart attacks. Sorry.
Oh no.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they have heart attacks over everything. Their hearts are
Yeah.
the black holes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for episode 1 of Vaesen. If you want to make sure you see when we next go live, you can follow us on Twitch. That's free. All you need is an account. If you want to give a little money, you can subscribe to us for $5 a month, or if you have Amazon Prime, you can give us 5 of Jeff Bezos's dollars.
Yay!
Yes.
You do by no means do you have to. It is just if you wish. Every bit is appreciated. All of it goes back into the podcast.
We're using some of it for really cool art, guys. You're gonna get
Yes.
There is going to be some beautiful. Have we said what it is yet, or should I
go for it? Just announce it.
I
It's
get to
gonna
do
be
the
soon.
review. All right. Christian was able to get in touch with one of the main RuneQuest Katrin Durim, one of the main RuneQuest artists, and commission her for RuneQuest style art of all of our characters.
It's coming.
We have
It's
gotten the
We've
sketches.
seen drafts. It's so cool.
It's beautiful. All of our characters, plus our favorite NPCs, Aranina and Lonson.
Pets.
All the pets are there, and I have to give a specific shout out to Nightclaw. The way that she drew Nightclaw is
perfect.
It's the way I hold my cat.
Perfect.
It's so cat.
Nightclaw blows the whole picture away. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful what we've seen so far, and we will share the full piece as soon as we get the finished copy. And
yours and Jeff Bezos' dollars made this possible.
Jeff Bezos donated to this art.
We'll use it as a tax write-off. It's fine.
There you go. You can follow us on all social medias at DMs After Dark. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can also email us at dmsafterdark@gmail.com. Should you have any questions, comments, thoughts, we love it all. We have a Redbubble where you can buy a shirt with our logo on it if you wish. You can follow us on all the podcast apps at DMs After Dark. That's where you'll get, all the audio of these, all of the mini series. You can also follow Rainey's podcast, Rainey Plays Games, which is his solo feed, but also, and every now and again, a couple of us will be on there, and some of his other friends. So go support our home as if he's still part of us. Obviously, he's just also
our
doing
basement
more
ginger,
because he's our basement ginger.
Go support our basement ginger.
Go support our basement ginger. Yes.
There's rumor that he will even make a guest appearance during the campaign at some point.
In theory, he should also be on all the podcast apps.
Have to prepare to traumatize him the most.
All
in one session.
Five Amber sessions and games that he's missed.
Guillory's, that would be not up to us. That would be a conversation with Katrine, because it is her art and we are not going to profit off of her art. So it will be a question. Yeah, Christian is close, so we could. So maybe that is an up to her kind of thing, I think.
Yeah.
But I would.
The prince or something.
prints.
Putting it on Redbubble.
Yeah, that depends on.
to
We'll have to check if we purchased a commercial when we purchased the commission, if it was a commercial license or just for personal use.
Honestly, I would even just put it up to her to split it with her if that goes that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to rip anyone off. So
no. But if that is something that becomes available, we will share that on our socials and talk about it on whatever episode comes out around that time. And as soon as we get shareable updates on that art, oh boy, we're all very excited about it.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
All right, so thank you everyone so much for joining. And until next, I didn't think of a question. Until next time.
Go shoot in your basement.
How good do you think you could? No.
No.
I don't want to.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Can't even do anything anymore in America.
Until next time, bring plastic baggies to the Olive Garden. Take the bread home.
Yes, the best thing about Olive Garden.
Until next time, steal more bread. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone.